however many episodes we have on now of Chismes And Menudo. This is
Scott Bedgood.
Can I just say, I love your last name.
Oh, thank you.
I've said that in other podcasts when we talk about you guys, because we talk about you guys. And I just like Bedgood.
Yeah.
What is that?
It is, it's actually Welsh.
Welsh. Where's that? Europe?
Wales is like on the side of England, you know, where Wales
You're
is.
from there?
No. That's just where the name Bedgood is from.
Oh.
And tell me if this sounds like something white people would do, but apparently it means something else in Welsh. And then the English were like, yeah, that sounds like Bedgood. We're just going to write it down as Bedgood forever.
Stop.
And so,
Yeah, that's exactly what it
Wait,
was.
is it spelled?
we're not going to try to figure it out.
He's
yeah.
like, I don't care.
Yeah. No, Welsh is like a really weird language.
I saw it on The Crown.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If you see it written or heard it speak, it's really strange.
Yeah.
So they probably were like, we don't want to figure. I think it means it's like something to do with the church, and they were like, we'll just say Bedgood, and you'll figure it out from there for the generations.
Like,
you know.
That's what they said when your family got to Ellis Island. They were like, Bedgood.
Yeah, whatever.
Bedgood.
Yeah, Bedgood.
Bed and good.
Yeah.
A lot of good things happen in bed.
Yeah. It's a lot
of bad things.
A lot of bad things also happen in bed. But we're going to focus on the good.
Imagine if it was bad good or bad bed.
Yeah. I when I type it a lot, I forget the second O. And so then I accidentally, it just says Bedgood.
God.
And I'm like,
Bedgood.
Okay.
Wait, that sounds even cooler.
Yeah, I know. Like, well, that's...
You should follow in your ancestors' footsteps and just be like, you know what? This sounds better. Let's just do...
Yeah, maybe I was going to drop
Bedgood.
that. Yeah.
There you
exactly.
go. Okay, so we're here with Scott Bedgood. Scott is a local comedian. He runs Deadgood Productions with Kevin Deanda, and you're also an author.
Yeah.
So when we asked you like to send us the stuff, that threw me for a loop.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't talk about it a lot with my comedy, but yeah, I wrote a book. I guess it came out like 7 years ago. So I'm a writer. That's what I do for a living. And I was working for the National Football Foundation and College Football Hall of Fame. And so I put together a book where I interviewed 12 College Football Hall of Fame coaches, just about their life and career and stuff like that. And so it's one of those things that if someone's a college football fan, I'm like, yeah, I interviewed Steve Spurrier and Barry Switzer and R.C. Slocum. They're like, oh my gosh, that's the greatest thing ever. And if they're not, they're like, I don't really care. So I don't like talk about it unless I'm like talking to, and somebody is a college football fan. I'm like, hey, you might think this is cool, but otherwise I'm like, yeah, you're going to think I just talked to some old dudes and it doesn't matter. But
my stepson would love that. He loves football, first of all, but he's very into college football. He loves
it's called
college
Lessons
football.
from Legends.
I'm gonna buy it for him.
Okay.
Can you do? Is it physical copies?
Yeah. So you can order it on Amazon or I think it's still on Barnes and Noble.
I'm gonna get it for him for Christmas. That's actually perfect.
That's actually that's what I was gonna say. People like to order it for Christmas for their kids or for their dads or granddads who are like really into like the history of college football. So it's a pretty easy read. Like kids can read it, and then anybody who can read can probably finish it in like a week. But I did a radio interview one time where the guy was like, you know what I like about this book? It's easy to read and like simple, and I could finish it on the plane. And I was like, I put like a year of my life into that, but
so much work into
when you said that, I was like,
but then I thought about it and I was like, you know what? That's a good selling point because when I'm buying a book, I want to know that I can finish it.
True. Honestly, it's a big investment to read, especially when you got other stuff going on. But so I got a 4 on my tax test. I don't know if you know what that means.
It means nothing now.
Yeah.
They don't even have tax tests anymore.
What do they do now? Is it stars?
Something like that.
Okay, but when back in my day, when we were doing the essay portion, shut the fuck up. When we were doing the essay portion, I got the highest grade
That's
in my
when schools
class.
were still segregated.
4 was the
4
highest.
was the highest.
Oh, okay.
That bitch never gave me that passage though that I wrote, and I'm still so bitter about it because I don't know what the fuck I wrote.
Oh, but you think it was like brilliant,
But
and
it
the
was
world should see
clearly,
it. Only one person read it.
Yeah, and the way we used to practice for writing the essays was we used to read excerpts from, like they would get samples from other students' essays, and they were either like a 1 or a 2 or a 3 or 4, and the 4s were like, and like penmanship was a big thing. Like it also counted towards the score.
Yeah.
I have perfect penmanship.
See, I have terrible penmanship.
See, that's why you type. But I write.
Exactly.
Did it really
I'm a
count?
writer.
Did the penmanship really count?
Yeah, is it? Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, if you can't.
Maybe that's just what the teacher would say, so she wouldn't have to read it if it was like
Just
too
like
much chicken
Yeah,
scratch. She's like,
probably.
penmanship matters. I'm not reading this.
Yeah, because I have horrible penmanship. I guess that's why I always got 3s.
Well, if you suck at like penmanship, like how do people know what you're saying?
They can figure it out.
That's true.
I guess.
figure
I
it
can
out,
read
I'm sure.
Dr. Scribble Scrabble.
Well,
so.
kids don't even write anymore. I assume they're all
That's true.
typing
No, they're
and
all
shit now.
typing.
Do you think they learn cursive? Like, is that a thing?
I mean, I
I
don't.
still write in cursive.
I don't know
Me too.
cursive.
No, they don't. But like in Italy, I think they make the kids like that's all they write is in
Yeah,
cursive.
Italy's all about aesthetics, you know.
Yeah, true. But anyway, my point was that I always wanted to be a writer.
Okay.
And when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, that's awesome.
It's never too late, you know.
I know. It's
That's
just,
the thing with writing. Is, you can start whenever.
I have ADHD. I don't know if that means anything.
I do too. I actually
you
just
really?
got diagnosed 2-3 weeks ago.
You got diagnosed like recently.
Yeah, for the first time in my life. Yeah,
Huh.
and so they put me on
Isn't it like a lot
medicine that
harder?
I'm not allowed to say I take. But
Oh.
You're not allowed to say you take medicine?
no, yeah, you are. But like when you get a Adderall prescription, you sign like a form that's like, don't tell anyone you have it. So I'm saying it on a podcast, but I'm not selling it. So back
Yeah,
Who
that's-
doesn't take
that's
it?
why.
What the fuck? I
You
didn't know
can't-
that.
Well,
it's
they
like
want
really
you-
protected. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was crazy. I was like, I had to take a drug test and everything just to get it. I was like, whoa, okay.
Oh, I would. Never mind. Cut that
It's a
out.
lot harder to diagnose that in adults too, isn't it?
Yeah,
Same
yeah.
with
It was
autism.
like a battery of tests. It took like an hour or more. It was really funny though because like if you have ADHD, this will sound like torture because it was. They put you in a room. There's a computer screen. It's white and it says we're gonna flash letters intermittently and hit the space bar for every single letter except X. And then it would just do randomly. It would do A L M O P S X A L X. And it's just like
At, like
over.
varying speed.
And it
or-
did, yeah, varying speed, and the only one you're not supposed to hit the space bar was for X, and it's 15 minutes.
The whole thing. Oh,
yeah.
no.
And I hit it so many times.
You were just like, at this point.
Yeah, what I finally started doing is I started not looking at the screen and just like trying to see it out of my periphery, and then just like seeing if I would do better that way. I didn't, and then at the end of the test, the guy like looked at the results. He goes, "So, you didn't really do well, but that's fine." And he goes, "And what we can actually tell from your chart is that there was actually never a sustained period where you did well." He's like, sometimes people can hyper concentrate and do well for like a minute or two. He's like, you were pretty consistently not good at it. And I was like, perfect. All right, cool. He's like, so
Give me drugs.
He's like, yeah. He's like, so from
We're going to give you a lot of
all
drugs.
of this information, you probably need medicine. And honestly, like the first day I took it, I felt like Bradley Cooper in the movie Limitless, which I haven't seen that movie, but I assume it all works out for him. But it was amazing.
It's a good movie, actually. You
And
should
then the
watch
second
it.
day, I was like, I feel like I've got nothing because they gave me the lowest dose. But literally the first day, I was like, I am so productive. This is unbelievable. And then it's like evened out, and it actually has been really helpful to be a better writer and like to just work on stuff and like be more organized. But yeah, it's funny because writing is what I do for a living. But it is really hard when you have ADHD.
Yeah.
It's really hard to concentrate, and it takes me a lot longer sometimes, especially if I don't want to. If it's stuff I don't want to write about, especially for like work and boring stuff, that's
It's
when it
harder
takes
to
forever.
do. Yeah.
But
Oh,
if I'm
shit.
inspired, then it's like, all right, like
It
this
just
is
pours
cool.
out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's where, comedy has been really good for writing because I can do that while I'm doing something else. Like I write a lot of bits in the car. I write bits while I'm walking the dogs or just doing life. And I don't have to sit at a computer for like an hour and a half and get it done. I can just type in my phone like a couple words and then I'll remember what I was thinking about. And,
Yeah.
So comedy has been interesting for me from that perspective.
And that's how you, but that's how you write also. You say it's like, you just type it in your phone.
Yeah. I
Or just the idea.
Yeah, I think of a bit. I kind of work it out in my head, and then I just write like one or two words on my phone, and then go back to it later when I think of it.
Oh.
It kind of jogs your memory, just like, oh, this is the way that I wanted to go with this idea.
Yeah.
Is that how you would do it before you were taking the medicine? Or
Yeah. That's how
okay,
I've always done it. Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody has their own way of writing.
I think
I've
it's
always found it.
fascinating,
Yeah. There's some people that have to write absolutely every single word down and then perform it exactly like that. And if they miss like an and or a but or something, they're just like, damn it, I fucked that up. But even like the jokes still hit. But they're just like, oh no, like I didn't do it perform it exactly the way that I wrote it down. And there's other people that are like, I'm just going to go up there. I have this loose idea of what I want to talk about, and then I'll create my canyon through it, carve my canyon through it.
Yeah. Have you seen like Nimesh Patel's? Like he has like a long form notebook. Like he carries like a large notebook, and he writes it out like longhand. Every the bits he's working on and stuff.
I've never seen his notes, but
Yeah,
whenever he goes up there though, like whenever he performs, I've always kind of seen like
He takes it up on stage with him?
No, I
Nah.
don't think so.
When-
I think he leaves it.
yeah,
on the
but,
table,
I've always felt like he's very fluid with the way that he speaks. He has
Right.
like he found his voice.
yeah,
really
he's one of the
easily.
most from. I think I saw maybe his first or second open mic ever because it was like my first or second one, and I thought he'd been doing it for 10 years because he was so natural. He just has a real comfort on stage.
Yeah.
Like, which is just that's hard to teach. But yeah, it's really interesting because you see his notes and he's got this notebook, he's writing it longhand, but then he goes up there and it kind of feels like he's like, yeah, I'm making this up. But like that's, there's a lot of comedians like that. Like the performance makes you think they're making it up. But it's pretty precise, which is I think really interesting. But yeah, I'm always talking to people about how they write their bits. Like, what do you do? Like, how do you write your stuff? Do you have a notebook? Do you write on your phone? Like,
I write it on my phone. So most of the time, like I'll do it at work just because I'm on the forklift most of the day.
okay.
So I can just have my AirPods in and just listening to music or podcast or something. And then I'll hear, or like I'll just let my brain eventually go into like a type of flow state where I'm not really paying attention so much. I'm just kind of like moving. And then eventually it's kind of like, have you ever done like acid or anything?
No.
Or psychedelics? Well, there's like a flow state that you kind of get into where your mind just kind of wanders and then you grab onto certain things. And eventually one of those things is something that'll make me chuckle and I'll write it down.
Yeah. That's honestly sounds just like a normal day with ADHD.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think, oh my.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we both have it.
Yeah.
What made you want to get tested though? Like,
Well, I was having a lot of trouble finishing tasks, especially when it comes to work. And I read something that I thought was like, oh, okay, cool, that's exactly right. And it was like, do you have trouble doing the last few details of a big project after you did the hard part?
yes.
And I was like, oh, that's exactly right.
Wait, can you repeat that?
So do you, because you weren't even paying attention. Do you have trouble doing the last few details of a project after you've done the hard part? Yeah. So like for me, I've written 2 books. That's a hard thing, right? The bulk of the words, that's the hard thing. But then when you finish a book, there's all these little things. There's the back cover stuff. There's just the table of contents. There's the making sure the page numbers. I mean, all this stuff. That was way harder than writing the bulk of because the bulk is like, oh, that's fun. I can accomplish that task. And then you get to the end and you're like, I don't want to do
if
this.
things aren't fun, I'm not doing it. Or
Yeah.
I'm doing it, but I don't finish it.
Or you feel like you've done. Like you feel like you're done with it. Like I don't need to, And that was the thing that I was like, oh, okay, like this is legit. And honestly, I had a lot of like big ideas and big projects and business stuff I wanted to do. And I was to the point where I was like, I don't even want to start that because I don't think I can finish it.
Yeah.
And that's what I was like, I think I've been fighting my own brain for 33 years. I think maybe I should see if there's something that I can help myself with so I can go, for the next however long and like actually accomplish a lot of things I want to accomplish. And so I was talking to my mom about it and she was like, you came to me like your junior year of high school and we're like, I think I have ADHD. Like, and she was like, she said her response was like, you've made it this far and your grades are pretty good. So,
Oh my God.
and I was like, you know what? That was probably smart because it taught me to work harder and, figure it out and whatever. And now I've gotten to this point and I've gotten sort of I feel like as far as I could go with the coping sort of mechanism, the way of operating, and I felt like it was just time to figure it out. But yeah, it's been actually really good so far.
I mean, I have boys. I wouldn't put them on medication either ever at all. Like,
yeah. And I know I have a 3-year-old. I know he has ADHD. And he's going to.
My God. Yeah. I know at least 2 of my boys. I have 5, 6 with my stepson. I know either half of them or if not all of them have like something, but I would never like put them on anything.
Yeah.
I had a lot of friends that were put on stuff and like I wouldn't say all of them, but I know at least one of them did struggle with drugs later on. So it's like, I'm not taking that chance.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like we're that's how my wife and I are like, we don't even necessarily want him to be diagnosed necessarily because then the conversations start happening is like, a lot of times with kids, it's just like, hey, like just let them go play outside for a while.
Yes.
Like, get that energy out and then they'll be able to concentrate, or just directing them in certain ways and teaching them those ways to cope. And then if they get to a certain point as an adult where they're stable and they're not like a risk for these things, then it's okay, But we're in the same Like,
But yeah.
It's also strange for like a developing brain.
Yeah.
You know, they say your brain doesn't stop developing until like you're 25, essentially, and even after that, it develops still slightly.
yeah.
To introduce something that's foreign to your body that does affect your neuro like chemistry and then everything like that at an age where like even if you're a teenager, the most amount of growth your brain goes through is in those few years.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Introducing like something foreign to it is like
You're asking for trouble at that point. Like
it could potentially lead to problems down the road.
I'm glad though that we know that stuff now though. Like
Right.
back in the day in the 90s when we were kids, like they didn't give a, first of all, they didn't give a, our dad refused to care about anything.
Yeah, it's real hang loose kind of dude.
Yeah,
All right, yeah.
my mom, poor girl. Being a mom now and like seeing that shit, I'm like, damn girl, I don't know how you did it. But like, yeah, even then it was like, no, we can't. And I talked to my older cousin about that too, because she has 2 boys and one of them was like very, very like hyperactive and they wanted to give him medicine. And then I told her like what was going on with my kids and she's like, don't do it. And I'm so glad I listened to her. She's like, put them in sports or have them run around in the morning before you take them to school, like get their energy out. And then it's like, you know, but I think once you're older and you can make those decisions, I want to go get tested so bad. I want to get tested for autism too.
Oh, really?
You think you're autistic?
I do. I feel like I know how to mask really well.
Steven inspired you to do this?
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
I took that online test he took, and like,
Did you?
whatever the
I'm scared.
whatever the least autistic score was, that's what I
Really? Man, that's awesome.
I was like, oh, okay. I just was
It's-
curious, like what the questions were. Like,
Yeah.
I just because I never heard you could do an online test for it.
Well,
I think it's
and
like
who knows how accurate it is.
Yeah.
You know? But I just was curious what the questions were, and it was interesting because
there are some people though where I'm like, I know you're autistic.
Yeah.
Like I know that, which is not. Before it was like you're on a spectrum or whatever, and now it's like not so much a spectrum. Maybe you just have like symptoms of it, or like
There's like certain tics that you have, or like certain social things.
yeah. But
I think they're
know
a lot more broad with the
Yeah.
usage of it these days. Yeah.
I think I am autistic.
You think so?
I do, because sometimes I be saying some out of pocket shit sometimes, and I don't even realize.
Maybe you're dumb.
I think honestly that's part of ADHD though.
Oh,
like
okay,
when you take that on online, or not even online, the actual
ADHD
battery
test?
of tests I took, there were questions that were kind of like, are you in situations where you're talking and you're like, why am I still talking? And you're
Yeah.
like, you don't want to be, but you just keep doing it. And like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, why did I say that?
Word
But
vomit.
like, you just can't help it. Yeah. And I was like, yeah.
Poor Kevin, I've done that.
Yeah.
But
That's true.
also, I've been under the influence, so that doesn't help either. But that last episode was a doozy. We cut out a lot of stuff.
You know,
oh,
it's
you
funny.
cut out stuff of that one. Okay. So
Did
that
we?
was just what was left in.
Did we?
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
I
yeah, we
ended up
did.
having to cut
Oh,
out
no.
a lot of stuff. Poor Kevin. So sorry, Kevin.
You know what's funny is I stopped drinking a couple of months ago, and now I'm starting to kind of realize like the drinking really helped me in social situations.
Yeah.
Even if I didn't like get drunk or anything, but like just having the crutch of like having a beer or two in my hand and just being around, it made me more social. But now I feel like I'm very quiet.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
It kind of throws me off a little bit
That I'm so quiet now.
because it's a lot. But you are already quiet to begin
He's the
with.
introvert of the two of you.
Yeah. But like for you to be even more, I'm like
Even
damn,
more so now because
Can
I'm
I give
not.
you a beer, like
Yeah.
please? Or like you want? Never mind.
Yeah, I wonder if that has to also do with the ADHD of it, or maybe I'm autistic. Who knows?
I would say autistic for you.
You think I'm autistic?
Yeah.
No, I'm an idiot.
Yeah. Okay. That's his like fix for everything. Go to. It's just he's
I'm
just
an idiot.
weird. I'm dumb or he's dumb or we're both dumb. Now
We are all licensed psychologists, by the way. That's one of the interesting
Honestly,
things about
yeah.
this podcast. People don't know that. But
Yeah,
I'm self-diagnosed.
we are absolutely able to speak as experts on these topics.
Well,
Yeah.
you at least
know what the
I
I
test is
saw,
like.
yeah.
You
For,
saw
for
the
one of
test.
these topics, I took the test. Yeah, so.
I took Adderall one time illegally, I guess and I felt so good. But I took
1950.
I don't know what the lowest dose. I think it's like 0.5 or something, 0.2.
I think it's like 10 milligrams.
Really?
That's the one I got. It was the smallest one.
This is not. Oh, maybe it's another one.
Maybe you took a. Yeah, I don't know.
But
Did it like so? How did you? So one of the ways to determine this, again, I am licensed, so I'm allowed to speak about this. But supposedly, if you have ADHD and you take Adderall, it just makes you feel normal and like able to concentrate and like whatever. If you don't, then it's essentially speed because it's like a stimulant. So if you don't have ADHD and you take Adderall, then it makes you like crazy and like hyped up and like, oh my gosh. And, that's why people take it as like a party thing if they don't have ADHD. If you do, then it kind of is what's just supposed to sort of level out your brain. Now, if you take a ton of anything, obviously, but like I think that's kind of one of the ways of determining is like if you take it and it just makes you feel crazy, like you took some sort of upper, then you probably don't have ADHD. But if it just makes you feel good, then
I felt like I could do whatever I needed to do, but I think I did take a higher dose than, or it was probably just not even what it said it was because it was illegal.
True.
Like I was getting.
Don't do that.
Don't
guys.
do that, guys. Ever.
Seriously.
I only did it once, and after that, I was like, I can't. I'm gonna get actually diagnosed. But I wanted to ask you about your comedy. Like, when did you start that?
Yeah. So it actually came about from my work as a writer. I don't do as much of it anymore, but I used to run a monthly newsletter called Trial and Error, email newsletter, where I would try different things that were crazy or funny or scary or whatever.
You would like on
I would try it on my own time and then I would write about it. So I did everything from one of the reasons I started it was because I was getting so many PR emails like, would you like to try this product? And I was like, these are so stupid. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. So I just started saying yes to everything and getting all these weird products sent to me. And I got some cool stuff. Like I got a Theragun out of it that was like $300. They just sent me for free. And
you could do that. Just say yes, you want to try it, and they'll send it to you for free.
About it. Yeah. It's one of the perks of being a journalist. It's honestly the only perk of being a journalist. Like, not the pay and not the workload, but no. So I was getting cool stuff. I tried cryotherapy. Have you all done that?
No, but I would want to.
It's crazy. It feels so good afterwards. But I mean, it's like negative 200 degrees Fahrenheit, and you walk in and just like your underwear and like this tube, and the person has to stand there and talk to you for. It's 3 minutes. It's the longest 3 minutes of your life. But when you get done with it, it's incredible, and like you burn so many calories and all this stuff. And it was amazing. You feel great because.
Did you do the one where like your head is popped out?
Yeah, just your head's out. And your hands are in mittens and your feet are in mittens. Although one time I forgot my mittens, that was bad. I was like, "Why? Oh no!" And like I could see the mittens right there. I was like, "Can you grab them?" But yeah, essentially what happens with cryotherapy is that your body thinks it's dying, and all the blood rushes to like the center of your body to preserve life, and then you get out after 3 minutes, then it sort of rushes back, and I don't know. Anyway, it's really interesting. So I tried all kinds of stuff, and then I'd always wanted to do comedy. I'd wanted to do it in college, and I just kind of always chickened out from it because I was like, I don't know anybody that does it. I don't have, people make fun of me. I don't know if I could be funny in a setting like that. Like I went to a small high school and I was voted funniest, which is like, that doesn't always mean you're that funny. Like sometimes it just means you're the, most annoying.
The dunce.
Yeah, right. So I was kind of like, So anyway, I like ran out of things to do, and that was on my list, and I'd put it off, and finally I was like, shoot, I have to do this. Like I put this pressure on myself, but I have to do it. And so I researched. I didn't know anybody here locally that did comedy, and I just figured out that Backdoor was like the place to do it. It was like a good place to do your first open mic, and I called them. And have you ever done Backdoor?
Mm-hmm. First one.
Yeah. Okay. You call and you're like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And you're getting this speech about like what you can and can't do, and it's 3 minutes. But they're supportive. They're like, great, it's your first time, awesome. And so I went. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't even tell my wife. I was like, hey, I'm gonna go do something tonight. I don't really want to talk about it because I'm like really nervous about it. It's not sketchy. Just I'll tell you when I'm done. And she was like, okay.
Your wife is bigger than me because I would have been like,
who the fuck are you gonna go see?
Yeah, who the fuck?
Yeah. I was like, look, if I'm gonna go do something sketchy, I would not tell you this. I would have told you. I was like, if anybody's gonna do something sketchy, they would tell you they're doing something not sketchy.
Yeah,
so I was like, I'm just anyway. So I told right after I was like, here's what I did. Here's the video. So yeah, I showed up to Backdoor. It was weird. I think it was October 2021. Yeah, I showed up and signed up or whatever, and I was standing there. I was feeling really weird. Like, this is really strange. Everyone kind of knows each other. And I think it was Jake Casey. Do you know him? He hangs at a back door a lot. He just saw me and he was like, "Hey, are you here to comedy?" I was like, "Yeah." And it was the first time. He was like, "Hey, come talk to us," and like welcomed me in. And then Rocky Deer was there, and he gave me some really good advice, which was really funny in retrospect. He was like, "Look, don't worry if you bomb." And I was like, "Oh, I actually hadn't considered that." Not that I thought I was going to kill it, but I just was like, I hadn't considered that I could bomb,
Yeah.
And he was like, "Don't worry if you bomb, just feel it." Like, he's like, "If you feel comfortable on stage, then that means it's probably something you want to keep doing." I went one of the last people, as it always goes with backdoor, and got a laugh with my first line, and I was like, okay, like this is pretty cool. And I don't think the rest of it was amazing by any means, but the first line worked, and I felt good about it. And then it was 2021, so it was still like pandemic time. I had a kid, and I didn't go back until I did one in January. January 22, which was actually still a peak like COVID time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went back, there was like nobody there. And then we still had the covers on the mics. Were you ever there with the covers on the mics?
Yeah, the first one that I did was at Backdoor, and it was the first one that they had back after they lifted all the COVID restrictions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I remember, this is probably bad that I did this, but I kind of made fun of the club like as soon as I walked up, because they do them on Thursdays, right?
Yeah.
That Friday is when everything was supposed to open back up. So I walked up and I was like, yeah, we're doing comedy. The restrictions are open next week or tomorrow, but we did it today. They don't care about our safety. Woo.
Oh my God. Hell no.
Thinking it was going to get a laugh. It did not.
No, yeah. Yeah. Well, live and learn,
Yeah.
But so I did one in January, and there was nobody there, and it was just kind of like, oh, this is not fun. It just wasn't good. Like, and so I didn't go back until July of 22. So that's when I say I started. It was like July. Of 22, because I did 2 open mics spaced out. That wasn't like that wasn't starting comedy, right?
Yeah. Not like fully.
No,
like
not
every
at all.
week
Yeah.
and-
Yeah. So I did July 22. I did maybe 1 or 2 mics within a space of a month. And at one of those, Sylvia McBademan was there, and she knew a friend of mine who had come to the mic with me to see me. And so we talked afterwards, and then she reached out a couple of days later and was like, "Hey, I'm like having my first showcase kind of show at the Comedy Arena in McKinney, and would you want to be on the show?" So I literally done like 3 open mics, and
That's
I was being asked to be on the
crazy.
show, and I was like, I didn't know anything. Like I wasn't like planning to do comedy, so I didn't know how any of it worked.
So the second time that you went up, that was still kind of like research for you.
Yeah, I was just so I did write the article in October of that year. People were like, "Whoa, that's so cool! You did that, or whatever. Like, you should keep going, whatever." The second time I was like, do I want to keep doing it? And I didn't, because it wasn't great.
So the second time you went back because you liked it so much. The first time.
I wanted to just see like, is this something I can do? And it was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, but I still had the bug, the itch, like, and so that's when I went back in July and did it one more time, and it felt good. It went good. The crowds were better. The people, but then, like, I think maybe I did one more time, and Sylvia was like, "Hey, do you want to be on this show?"
That's crazy.
And I was like, "Yes." And I was like, "How, literally, what do I do?" And she was so helpful with just answering the most basic questions, and
How does one comedy?
right. I was like, how long? She's like, do you have 7 minutes? And I was like,
Yeah, sure.
I will.
Absolutely.
And when's the show? In a month and a half? Okay, I will have 7 minutes.
Oh my God.
I didn't tell her that. I was like, yep. And so I
That's so scary.
did that show, which was really cool and really fun.
Did you like it? Like,
Yeah, it felt good. Yeah, to like,
How everything
actually do
went?
a real show, and yeah. It went well, and
how was like the writing for that month? Like, were you freaking out?
yes and no. So like the writing part is because that's what I do for a living. The writing part is always the easier part. It's really just the performance. It's the comfort on stage. It's making sure I'm not gonna forget stuff, but also not be robotic.
Yeah.
And like that was, looking back, when I look at like the video, I'm like, oh, okay, like I'm a different comedian on stage now. But I think the jokes are still hold up to an extent. I don't use most of them anymore, but actually, I don't think I use any of them, but still it's like, it was weird. And then the funny thing about that is after I did that, I posted a couple clips. People liked it. And a friend of mine, an old coworker, reached out and he was like, hey, he's like, I'm putting together a comedy night at my church. And we're having a nationally touring comedian come in that he had served in the military with. And this guy, Jody Fuller, he's actually incredible. And he has a stutter, but he has this amazing ability.
I think I've heard of
so
him.
there's two, weirdly, there are two stuttering comics.
Is he the one that was on America's Got Talent?
He's not that one.
Okay.
So that one's a younger guy. That guy is Drew something, and he's amazing. He's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, probably that's who I'm thinking
But
about.
Jody is a little older, and he's so funny. But anyway, so that he had served in the military with this guy Jody, and he was like, he's gonna come do this fundraiser for my church. He was like, will you be his opener? And I was like,
What the fuck?
I was like, do I get paid? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, cool, because I would have said yes no matter what. I just was asking. And then that time I was like, how long should I do? And he was like, do you have 15 minutes? And I was like, I will. I will.
That's crazy to me because isn't that hard?
Yeah.
To get 15 minutes. Yeah, it's hard to get, when you're first starting out, it's hard to get a decent 5.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it was a decent 15. I'm just saying that this crowd loved it because it was a church in Saginaw and they were having a comedy night. So they were just pumped that anybody was there.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm incredible.
Would you do those same
killed it.
15 minutes again now?
No, I did 15 minutes last night. It was totally different. But I was also at a brewery in Salina, so it was a little bit of a different crowd. And a lot of them weren't expecting comedy last night, but they had a good time. But yeah, so those two were really weird because they both just came about totally random. And both times I was like, yeah, I can do that. And then of course I did 15 then, and then I didn't do 15 again until a year later.
Yeah.
And it was, I worked so hard to make sure I had it. And honestly, I probably only did 12 and a half. I don't think I did a full 15. But yeah, that was those two things having back to back. I was like, okay, I think this is something I want to do, more than just pop in some open mics. The shows made it real, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And getting those quickly, I was like, okay, I think there's something here. Now I don't have that much time. I go to a mic a month and I do a show a month, and I can't really do them. I mean, I've probably done in a year and a half, probably not even 25 shows. Mm-hmm. So I have to take advantage of the opportunities when I have them, but yeah.
So it's not, do you think it would ever be something that you would want to quit your job for? Something that you do full time? Because we just had Sam Miller on. He's a comic out of Washington?
Yeah.
And he was telling us that it's so hard because, he has kids and a wife and he spends a lot of time away from them. He was in Dallas for one of his tours, and it's I couldn't imagine.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. I also do want to bring something up. I have a little bit of a beef. I was led to believe there would be conchas.
Ricky, you think Jasenia would want to go get some real quick?
Probably not.
Have you ever tried any?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Well then what
Come
the hell?
on, yeah.
You've tried them before.
I've tried them and I like them, and I was led to
you-
believe there
you
was
like them.
conchas.
We have to start providing conchas now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think that's our thing now.
Chismes y Menudo y conchas.
conchas.
you know?
Conchas, damn. Hey, I like your accent.
Gracias.
What, you talk Spanish fluently?
I do talk Spanish.
Do you?
Really?
I mean, not fluently, but yeah, I can speak Spanish. Yeah.
Oh shit, nice.
How? Well, not how.
People always ask me that. Yeah, and whenever I speak Spanish to a Mexican or someone, they're like, "¿Dónde aprendiste?" And I'm like,
I'm done already.
I'm like,
I'm about to be.
You're already impressed.
Yeah, I'm about to be just full on. I'm gonna treat you like Kevin right now.
okay, good, yeah. Oh no, actually, I don't want that. I don't want to be treated like Kevin.
No, he has a lot of ammunition, so he can, But okay, how did you learn? Why did you learn?
Yeah,
I'm loving it.
It's a funny question because the answer is just I learned it in school, but I just remembered it. Everybody learned it in school, but I liked it. So
You just kept.
yeah,
going.
I like languages. I like learning stuff like that.
Did you grow up with a lot of?
Yeah, I grew up in Tyler,
Hispanic?
Texas.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually a pretty diverse town on East
You
Texas.
wouldn't think, but it is.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so. Liam Nguyen was there, and he was like, "I met the only other Asian in Tyler," and posted a reel, and I was like, "Dog, my best friend was Chinese."
Sir.
Yeah, I've thought about it, figuring out a bit for this because my best friend was Chinese, and they own the China Cafe, the buffet, and at one point the of course, like the chefs were actually just like Mexican
Yeah.
dudes. The Mexican dudes broke off with like some of the Chinese cooks, and they started a Chinese Mexican buffet fusion called Pancho Panda.
That's awesome.
So much.
And
That sounds so good.
it did not last.
No way. What?
I mean, literally, they had a panda wearing a poncho, waving a flag, like in their commercials, and like the artwork was. Yeah, the artwork was. The artwork was literally like a panda fishing and like a Chinese like hat and like a poncho.
That sounds awesome. That sounds beautiful.
Yeah, it was a beautiful melding of cultures.
Beautiful. Damn, nobody really cared.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But anyway, so
Nobody
there's a lot of
the anaranjado chicken.
Anaranjado chicken.
Pollo anaranjado.
Pollo anaranjado. That sounds so good, actually.
Honestly,
I would do it. Yeah, I mean, maybe I should have gone to Pancho Panda. But
You missed out.
so I grew up around a lot of Hispanic people, and was always at Taqueria Los Sueros, which was just owned by some white dudes whose wives were Mexican. But but then I think the time I realized I was actually like remembered Spanish was I went to Nicaragua on a mission trip in college, and was there for a week. And after like 2 days, when you actually are speaking, I was like, oh, I can do this and they can understand me, and like we can have these conversations, and like even if I don't know a word, I can figure out a way around it, and like we can do this. But the problem with anything is like if you don't practice, then you lose it. So like right now, I would not be able to have just like a full conversation because I haven't used it that much. But like I could figure it out.
Yeah.
I kind of stumble a lot.
When you hear people talking Spanish, you can like kind of tell what they're saying.
Yes and no. Yeah, like
If it's slow enough.
Mexicans use so much slang that it's like, but like a Colombian, I can always understand Colombians because it's like.
Oh, Colombia. Well, because it's Castellano. But
Right. It's so like, they're so like, they don't talk that fast, and like it's really precise. Because I used to have some coworkers. I worked for Beckett. Do you know what Beckett is? Like sports cards, like baseball cards and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so we would all eat lunch together, and there's like a whole sort of warehouse area, and like they put the cards in these like slabs, and like all this kind of a lot of more manual labor. And so there were a lot of like Peruvians that worked there, and then there were some Colombians, and there were some Ecuadorians, and there was always like we would always like I would always kind of stir the pot between. But it was just funny because they would like help.
As you do.
Yeah. And they would help me with Spanish, but the Colombian girl, she was always like, just listen to me. I'm the only one that speaks good Spanish. And I was like, I can understand you better than everybody else. They were very arrogant about it.
Yeah, Colombians and Argentinians.
They are very arrogant. We're not just saying that because we're Mexican, though.
But it helped.
Yeah, but like,
but
I can understand most like Mexicans, but like Puerto Ricans or Dominicans, like no chance.
Not me either.
Yeah, it's like a whole different thing.
Yeah, they say like
I have to really focus.
Yeah, I don't know if they either say their L's as R's or their R's as L's.
And they drop all their S's.
Yeah. I think it's the R's as L's.
Yeah.
I think.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, the R's are the L's.
Yeah. I can't.
And like when I listen to Bad Bunny, I'm like, I don't know what this guy's saying.
Exact same.
I'm like, it sounds good, but
Wait, let's be
what
honest.
he's saying.
No one listens to Bad Bunny for his lyrics.
Yeah, we're not trying to get
Especially
inspired.
not here in the not here in the States. So I mean,
nobody's ever said Bad Bunny's got some bars.
Yeah, it really
exactly
like inspired me. But then I'll look up the lyrics and I still don't know because it's like got the apostrophes. But I'm like, nah, I don't know.
Yeah, no. But we can dance to it.
Yeah,
so
it
it's
feels
fun.
good. It speaks to my.
So it's more like the music. We like the music part, not so much the lyrics. Sorry, Bad Bunny, but
yeah, I don't think he's gonna be offended.
No, he has a lot more to worry about. His new AI song. Have you heard his new AI
I heard
song?
something about
he
it.
was so upset about
There's
his
an AI song for Bad Bunny.
it's so good actually.
Oh, no.
It's such a good AI
As a
song.
writer, like I won't dabble
I know.
in any
I
AI
haven't either,
stuff.
but they've been doing a lot of TikToks with it, and every chance I get, I will listen to
Oh
it
my
because it's that good.
Actually, yeah.
But I refuse to download it. I will not.
There's like a lot of snippets of Kanye singing other people's songs. Like I think
Yeah.
he did Jungle.
Fuck
by,
AI, man. Fuck it so
I don't know.
hard.
There was a Jungle like Jungle by Drake. There was a Kanye version of it, and it sounded so good.
I can't get with it. AI is so scary.
It sounded pretty fucking good.
I mean, but Bad Bunny's one did too. It sounded so good. But
see,
I cannot.
the thing is, like, it's at best, it's mimicry, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it sounds cool, but like, well, I don't want. If we want to get deep into it, but like, art is like the the things you don't expect and the things that nobody has ever said before or would ever think to say, and AI can't do that.
No,
right?
it's not. Yeah, it's like it just sounds so good though.
Yeah.
It just sounds
It
sounds like
sounds good on the surface, but then if you get deeper into it, you're missing that one piece that only that one person that could have potentially created what AI did has.
Right.
Yeah.
Like AI would never.
Like there's no soul to it.
Yeah, exactly. Like in whatever you think about Kanye, but like AI would never have made Jesus Walks or Power or those things that you were like, when you first heard it, you're like, I have not heard anything like this in my life.
Or also Light
Jesus
Beam.
Walks.
Right. Any of that stuff
God.
where you're just like, whoa, like it's weird. I have no idea now. It can make something that sounds like that now, but when that didn't exist, it doesn't make that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, it just ends up being an amalgamation of everything that a certain artist did, and then they like you were saying, they mimic it, and it's all the things, it's all the traits of what this artist could have potentially made, but then also they'll release something that's completely out of left field, and then that will get thrown into the pot and eventually be created into like another AI song.
But it's like it'll never be the thing.
Right.
You know, but I mean, I get it though. Like, I can't download or do anything with AI because I don't know if it's like a purist or you just don't, because you're essentially taking from people, you know, like all that clout that that AI song had. Like, I mean, it gave it to Bad Bunny a little bit, but in a bad way, because obviously he's like upset about it. You know, and now he has like such bad PR that he went off on, like, he has Telegram or like WhatsApp. He has a message group where like everyone can join it, and he went off on everyone on that message group, all of his fans, and he was basically like, pieces of shit, like, my real fans would never like this song, which like pushed everyone else to keep making TikToks with it to make it even bigger. And it was like, oh my God.
It's funny because like you look at the cyclical nature of things, and this is essentially the same thing as like people were illegally downloading music in the early 2000s.
Kaza,
Yeah.
LimeWire,
LimeWire was my shit.
It's funny because like the artist, like he's mad at it because it's creating music that he's obviously part of it is going to be that he's not getting paid for it. It was the same thing in the early 2000s, late 90s. Like people weren't getting paid for that music that they were illegally downloading.
Yeah, which sucks.
Yeah.
Like now getting into the space of anything creative, it's like, damn, I would be, not that there's anything, I don't think that could be copied of ours, whatever, but like,
but I mean, the more stuff
it,
you're putting out there,
Yeah.
the more times you're using your voice in a recorded fashion. Like someone could take your voice from all your podcasts, you know, throw it in one of these things, and then make you, quote unquote, say something that you would never have said.
Yeah,
Products are doing that.
So scary.
You know, yeah.
Like I'll get targeted ads that are like for a certain product, and then they'll have an AI voice. Like you can still hear it. Like you can,
you can
especially
still,
if like you're a fan of somebody's. Like I listen to a lot of podcasts, so I'll be hearing these people's voices constantly for hours at a time while I'm at work, and then you'll get an ad, and it'll be their voice, but you can tell that it's not really theirs. It's not their inflection. It's not the way
There's
they would
something
have said
awkward about it still.
Yeah.
They're getting to where it
It's
won't
getting
be.
better.
Have y'all seen that HBO documentary, Telemarketers, that came out? It's a 3-part documentary.
No,
Nah,
but
I
I
haven't seen
want
it.
to. So
Dude,
is it good?
It's so weird. Like it's really strange.
It's scary.
It's scary, and it's hard to describe. But basically, if you haven't seen it or don't know about it, like it's these two guys or this filmmaker guy. Back in, I think he started filming in like 2001. When he worked at this telemarketing, basically scam company. And he said it was just such a wild environment and he wanted to be a filmmaker, but he was like 16 years old and he was working here. And he just started filming his coworkers because they were like doing drugs at their desks. They were like, he said it was just lawless. He was like, because everybody that was hired by this company was like felons, ex-cons, all this stuff. And because they didn't care what you did. And they were making calls on behalf of the Fraternal Order of Police. But the way this works, and this is a known thing, and it was kind of even known then, but it's known now, the company, whatever it was called, some generic name, goes to a Fraternal Order of Police and says, hey, we will give you $300,000 and you can use that forever, whatever you want to use it for the Fraternal Order of Police, quote unquote, good organization, charity, whatever. You'll give us the right to raise money on your behalf. But whatever they raise over $300,000 is just pure profit to that company. So when old people get a phone call that they're raising money for the Fraternal Order of Police, they're giving money to this company that never goes to the police. Now the police got $300,000, so they're happy, but this company got $10 million or whatever.
That's what's happening now?
Yeah, so it's been shut down a couple times. That company eventually got shut down, but then they figured out new systems around it. So now the newest thing, and there's 3 episodes, and it's over a course of 20 years. So he comes back to it like in 2022.
I love those.
It's crazy. Just you watch these people grow, all this stuff. But now it's the AI voices, and so there's this really crazy scene where they start kind of reinvestigating this stuff. They'd put it down for a long time. They're like, this documentary will never get made. So they start reinvestigating. So they start kind of answering a lot of these calls, and they go, yo, this is Steve. And they were like, Steve died 3 years ago. And they had made him, like when he was working with this company, they had made him go in a booth and record enough conversations. And now they use him, and he's not even alive. But he had a good voice for it. Yeah, but a lot of these guys, again, they're kind of on the margins of society, and so they need this $20 an hour. They don't get commission, but they need a job, and nobody else will hire them because they have 2 felonies and they have all these things that they can't. They're still on drugs, and this company doesn't really care. And so so a lot of these guys, like, they're not even alive, and their AI voice is being used.
That's insane.
And you can tell now if you listen, because a lot of people don't answer their phone. I answer every call.
I've answered some of those, and I'm like, but they sound kind of real. Yeah, they're not. There's something off.
I wonder if like the filter of the phone, because your voice sounds completely different over the phone, so your brain already kind of tells that. Like
that's right. It's a little too crisp.
Yeah, like when you're talking to somebody on the phone, you can tell that they're in the bathroom. Mm-hmm. I think it's kind of like that thing. Like your brain already knows what your own voice sounds like. Yeah.
That is so fucking scary.
Yeah. So after I watched the documentary, I got one of those calls, and he was like, "Hey, this is Billy Ray, like some real
and it's
country
some,
name,
like, old white guy."
And he was like, "I'm raising money on behalf of the Fraternal Order Police in Texas, or whatever." And I was like, "Hey, does this money go directly to the police?" And he was like, "We'd be happy to answer that question for you if you are interested. I can have you talk to one of my managers." And I was like, no, I just want you to tell me, like, if I gave you money, where would that go? And he was like, we'd be happy to answer that question for you. And I was like, all right, bros. And then I asked one more question. It wasn't even that offensive. And then it just hung up.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it works. They're like, if you're questioning them, because it's automated now, it's just like 2 questions. All right, hang up. And they just want the old people. But yeah, I mean, like, the AI stuff is like, they're using it in so many ways.
AI has always scared me. Yeah. But like, that's the scare. There's celebrities that will give their likeness for like 2 years. They'll sign contracts with companies, and they make a whole new name for them. Like Kendall Jenner, she just did one where her name was Bobby. And it's just AI creating like content for her as Bobby. She signed her likeness away, I think, for 2 years, and they're able to create whatever persona they want to, so that they can sell their products.
Like
so you're selling your likeness, yeah.
But where does the name Bobby come from? Like, how does that play into it?
Because the company can do whatever they want with her for however long they have with her.
But she sells it under the name Bobby?
It's a completely different persona, person vibe that she sells, that they're allowed to do with whatever they want with her.
Oh, okay. I think I get it.
Yeah. So that shit's scary. I mean, I guess she's getting paid and there's a contract, but that shit's still scary.
It is scary. If there's a contract, it's a little less scary because there's parameters that they have to follow. But I mean, you can go. I'm sure there's ways that they can get around that.
That was a big piece of the writers' strike.
Yeah,
because they were like,
still going on? Because they got a shitty ass
not the
contract.
writers' strike,
not the writers, the actors.
Actors strike.
Because essentially the studios wanted to be like, okay, Tom Hanks, like, once you're dead, like, we're gonna make Tom Hanks movies for the next 100 years.
That's what happened with Bruce Willis.
Yeah, poor Bruce Willis.
They took his likeness. They started asking him when he started like getting dementia, basically.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay, we can go in and have somebody else that has the right of attorney or whatever sign all these papers that say that in perpetuity we can make movies in his likeness, we can do ads, we can still make money off of him even when he's dead. It's fucked.
Bruce Willis. Man.
Poor guy. He can't even talk anymore.
Man.
Dementia fuck you up, man.
Yeah. You know it runs in their family.
Yeah, I know. I'm scared. I know I'm gonna get it. Yeah. Just shoot me at that point.
Well, we're not gonna be able to figure it out.
Why?
Because you're gonna be argumentative about it.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, just shoot me.
I can't shoot
You
you.
need to put that in writing.
Yeah.
Like now.
Honestly. Yeah, I'll do that. Shit. I'm over it. I'm not gonna.
I'm also a lawyer. I'm not just.
Are you really?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not just a psychologist. I'm a
journalist, psychologist, lawyer.
I can give legal. Yeah.
No.
Got this mole.
Yeah, I'm a
You didn't think
dermatologist
about
as
it?
well. Yeah.
Well, I mean, with the internet.
Yeah. Anybody thinks they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you too how like all that stuff. Now that I know you're a writer, it kind of makes sense. Like the skits that you and Kevin are doing with Bedgood. It like is that all you or?
No, not at all. No, it's like very collaborative. Like we'll throw out an idea, and then the other person will kind of take it and add things, and hey, yo, I got this idea, and we'll hop on the phone and then talk through it. And like, oh, that's the idea, like, so it's cool. What I think my like dream job, not that I would ever, I'm past it now, but would be like to be in the SNL writers room or like in the writers room for a comedy or something, because like the idea of just like sitting around with other people and tossing out ideas, but then like being able to sort of be critical and be like, no, I don't think that's it, but we could do this, like we could twist it this way, or that's a good idea, because the collaborative nature of that makes a decent idea into a really good idea. So that's been really fun to work on with Kevin and do some of those things. And the biggest problem is just getting out there and having the time to film it and like, edit it, and like having people that will edit it and film it. And like our guys still did a really good job with the first one, but we have some other ideas, and we've got some other shows we're working on, and we'll figure that out. But yeah, it's been fun to work on that for sure.
He was telling us that y'all want to include the comics that are going to be on the shows in the skits, which I thought was a crazy idea. That's like amazing.
Yeah. We really wanted to do that for our Veterans Day show. We had a couple that were down, and then we just literally like I had a really, really rough like last 2 months with time and stuff. So we had no time to do it. And Kevin also has been super busy with stuff. So we never got around to filming it. I think our idea was going to be really good.
For next year, you can always push it for
we could
next
save
year.
it for Veterans Day.
You have a year to get ready.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I won't reveal it.
No, don't. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, but we have, what we did though at the show you guys went to where we played that skit in the show.
Yeah.
That was like, I thought of that like the day before the show. I was like, Kevin, do you think we could just like play our promo? And he was like, yeah, I guess we could ask. And Jared was down, and that's cool about the Comedy Arena is they're like really supportive of what we do. And so they were down to try it. And I think it worked really well. And I think it also like set the Dead Good sort of brand apart as like, it's not just a comedy show. Like there's some other elements, but I mean, honestly, it came out a little bit of fear because we were doing that sketch. And I was like, I think most of these people will not have seen our promo.
Oh, that's why you wanted to play it before.
I was like,
Yeah,
so
really
if we
good
just
setup.
walk out
Yeah, it
and
was
people
really
are
good.
like, who, what, now they might be confused anyway, but at least the skit, the video clued them in of like, there's something
That
weird
was
going
good.
on.
That was good.
Yeah. So
I didn't expect to see it.
Yeah. Okay.
Then.
Yeah. I'm glad that worked out, because we were kind of nervous how it would work, but I think it was a good idea. I think it worked out. And so we were like, we can't do it for every show, but we want to incorporate that more,
I loved it when y'all had your hands like this. Do it real quick, because you have such like long bony fingers, and when y'all were just like this, I told him like you were so creepy.
Yeah,
like so creepy. You have a really good face for it.
Yeah, people weren't really comfortable with how creepy I could become on command, but I wasn't sure. I was a little surprised that I could do so well.
Were you though? It was really scary, just to be clear. Like
yeah, I was.
It's like, where is he channeling this from?
I know. It was I found something deep inside me.
How is it with like your home life, like with your wife? Like when you finally told her, like, I think I do want to do this maybe for however.
Yeah, it's been something to balance. And that's why I try to be strategic about when I get out, when I go. Like that's why I go to the McKinney mic the most, because it's close to my house, and Kevin runs it, so like it's it's a good place to see people that I want to see, and like it's become really popular, and usually get 5 minutes, so it's like, okay, I can work on 5 full minutes. If I'm gonna take the time to go, like backdoor, I love backdoor, it's cool, but you get 3 minutes and you wait forever. And so it just is more time efficient to do the McKinney one. So, it's been a balance. And there's been times where, things just kind of ebb and flows to where it's like I have a lot going on and I feel like I'm kind of like doing too much, and like and then other times like I didn't do any stand up from mid-September until the Veterans Day show on the 11th. We did the Dead Good show, but I did that skit. We did the skit, and that was the only thing I did the whole month of October, because we have a 4-month-old baby, and we went on a trip, and then everybody was sick, and there was just so many things I can't get out. And so like, yeah, comedy, it can't be the number one thing, and which makes it harder, but that's why I just try to be really strategic about how I use my time. You know, I can't be at 3 mics a week. I can't do a million shows. And so when I do a show, and this is something that is this is not what most people do. And I've been told by experienced comedians not to do this, but I try to put in like new stuff in every single show. You know, I try to write new jokes, and, you know, every single time I do a mic, I only do new jokes. I don't ever try an old joke again. If I know it works, if I'm working on something, I'm trying to improve it. But, you know, some people, and it's probably the smart move, but some people will start off a mic with a joke they know that works and get people on board, and then whatever, or they'll insert one that gets people back on. But I'm like, I don't have time for that. So every time I do it, I do all new stuff. And then I try to put in some new stuff in every show that I do, just because it's like, one, I have to entertain myself. Yeah. Because if I'm doing the same stuff over and over again, I get bored. And two, I have to be efficient and see, like, does that actually work? Because I'm not going to get an opportunity to do this again for 3 or 4 weeks. So, you know, anyway, so yeah, I try to be strategic about how I do it, because I don't want to use all of my free time to do. Yeah.
Would you do like more back end stuff though, like things that you could write and then just send off, like skits, or like writing maybe shows or movies at any point?
Yeah, for sure. I would love to do that. And Kevin and I have talked about doing some of that stuff, like, you know, as we've gotten to know each other and as we've tried out different things with Dead Good, we've found, like, you know what, like, man, doing that skit was really fun. And I think we work really well together. And like, you ask like who wrote it, and it's like, I don't know. I don't remember who came up with the original idea. I want to say he did. I want to say, I can't remember, because it's so collaborative. And by the end product is fully both of us. And to me, that's really fun. I'm very collaborative. Like, I like working with people, and writing can be such a lonely profession because you're doing it by yourself and you put it out there, and people may read it, people may not. But what's really cool about like writing with Kevin and writing with other people, and putting out sketches and things like that, is you put it out and you see a real reaction, right? You can see people commenting on it, you can see people sharing it, you can see people, you know, talking to you in person. And so that stuff is a lot of fun. And I've done a lot of writing in my life, and until I started doing comedy, I never really did that much comedic writing. The stuff I wrote had humor in it. Like, I always, you know, inserted funny things into the things I was writing, even if they were pretty serious. But I did very few like funny things, like fully realized like sketches or like short story kind of things. Like, the only one I wrote, and this is so stupid, but I love it. I don't even know where it exists anymore, but in like the 2015 election cycle, after Jeb Bush dropped out and just like disappeared and like no one heard from him ever again, I wrote this short story about he like ended up in Jamaica and became Rastafarian. I like just did like the worst Photoshop of Jeb Bush with dreads on his head, and it was like, what happened to Jeb Bush? He's only speaking in like Jamaican Creole. And I was
super
like,
tan.
Yeah. And I was like, he's living his best life. Guys, don't worry about him. Like, Jeb is thriving.
Ooh, you could write fan fiction.
Yeah. So like
Jeb Bush fan fiction.
Yeah. But it was so stupid and like so weird. And people, like a few people liked it, and everyone else was like, what is this? So that stuff,
Dang,
I was
I
like,
need to read that. Where is
that? I don't know. And I don't know that you do. I need to read it first before I ever share it again. But
that's hilarious.
Yeah. So yeah, I know I do need to do more of that stuff, but it's cool having, you know, Dead Good and working with Kevin to be able to do that, you know?
Yeah.
Cause like if you're by yourself, like I don't want to do like TikTok videos by myself. Like I want to do it with people and like make it more fully realized, you know.
Yeah.
But then Kevin, like the video he did to promote the Veterans Day show where he's like doing the Pledge of Allegiance and like interrupts himself. I was supposed to be in that, but I just didn't have time. And then he did it himself, and it was actually funnier because it's him arguing with like another version of himself.
That's
Maybe
funny.
there's some, you know, psychology layers to that. Like, but
Yeah, I think
again,
so.
I am licensed. So.
Well, how did like y'all two get together?
Yeah, it's really funny. I think it was in late May of last year. So we had been familiar. We weren't friends by any means. Like just familiar through comedy, and like had gone back and forth, and like I think had, you know, some similar sort of senses of humor about some things. And he posted something that was like basically like, I don't have a lot of my schedule, so if anybody wants to book me for shows, like hit me up. And I responded and I was like, boo, don't book Kevin, book me. And he was like, he said something like, I can't remember who said it first, but we were just joking around and we're like, we should do our own show and just put like our boys on it and whatever. And we're like, ah, ha, ha. And then we just started like talking and we're like, you know, what would be a really cool show is if we had like, and Kevin told this story on Travis Wright's podcast, so I feel comfortable telling it now, but I didn't know if we were ever going to let this out of the bag. But what we had decided was we were like, what if we did a show called One of Each? And it was like one comedian from each race that we could think of. And then we just started joking around and we were like talking about like the visuals would be like those old 90s textbooks. You know, like where it's like one of literally every race.
I heard him talking about
Yeah, with like a
funny.
person in a wheelchair, like all this stuff. And so then
somebody holding the basketball for some fucking
yeah.
reason.
It's always just so weird. Like these people would never be.
There's like community college pamphlets.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. And so we actually like presented the idea, and the Comedy Arena was cool with it. And we asked the people like that were on our first show, and they were all cool with it. And then Kevin sent the poster. And the Comedy Arena was like, no. And they were like, and by the way, like, you know, like, we're cool with you guys doing a diverse show, but you're not calling it One of Each. And we're like, yeah, of course. Why would we do that? That was all a joke. We
Yeah,
weren't
that
gonna
was,
do
that was a holding
Right.
place.
Duh, man. Yeah, so yeah, all placeholders. So then Kevin got back into his creative brain and like came up with that really, really cool poster. And after a couple different name ideas, we were like, okay, the melting pot actually is pretty sweet and gives us a lot of cool visuals. And but I mean, literally only through that experience or that like DM that we were just back and forth and all that was how we became friends and started Dead Good. And like the funniest thing with the name of Dead Good is he was making the poster and I jokingly said we should call ourselves Dead Good, meaning Deanna plus Bedgood. I thought that was pretty clear.
Yeah.
Because his last name's Deanna, mine's Bedgood. And he goes, dope. And I was like, cool. And he put it on the poster and we were like, cool. And then
Bedgood is
it's a great name.
it's a good name.
And when I shared the poster for the first time, I said, me and Kevin Deanna started Dead Good Productions. Deanna plus Bedgood. That's Dead Good. And he texted me, he was like, yo, is that what Dead Good means?
Okay.
And I was like,
Come on.
yes. He goes, I just thought you had a really cool production company called Dead Good. And I was like, why would I have something called Dead Good? What does that even mean? I was like, I appreciate that you just take everything I say as just like
That's
true.
so cool.
And you threw it on a poster without asking a single question. But yeah, so then through that's where the partnership has come from, and it's really interesting. We have a lot of like similarities. Like we're both dads. Like we both have a similar mindset with comedy of just like not taking it as a joke, like taking it very seriously, and like, you know, moving in the spaces we want to move in and with the people that we want to move with, and not wasting our time or anyone else's time.
That's big.
Yeah, for sure. And taking a level of professionalism that the highest level of professionalism that we can achieve at the level that we're at in comedy, and really going beyond what we probably should be. Like every time we're doing something, we're doing more than we think we can do, and then we sort of have pulled it off. But then at the same time, we're like very different and like very different backgrounds and very different personalities in different ways. But those like work to complement each other. But then I think it's just having that shared vision. And like, look, he is comedy full time is what he wants to do For me, I don't feel like that's realistic. I think it's part of my life and part of what I want to do. And I want to support him and get him, like, because he's taking it, like he wants to go to a whole different level than maybe I at this time feel. I'm like happy for him to achieve whatever he wants to achieve. And I would never want to hold him back. But I think that together we can do really cool stuff that helps him do that and helps me do what I want to do. So it's cool. Yeah. It's, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I do a lot of jokes about like rap music, and I use a lot of rap examples. And I was on the phone with him the other day, and he had this opportunity and he wanted to include me. And I was like, okay, I mean, I appreciate that, but I was like, look, you can do whatever. Like, I was like, that opportunity was presented to Kevin DeAnda. And if you want to make a Dead Good thing out of it, let's do that. But that's Kevin DeAnda's thing. And you don't need me. If you want, we can. If you don't, I was like, I'm not offended by that. And I was like, I feel, I was like, I don't know if you know much about the Wu-Tang Clan. And he was just like, he just started dying laughing. And I was like, I feel like you haven't let me give this example yet, Kevin. And he was like, no, I just appreciate that whatever you're going to say has to do with Wu-Tang. And I was like, look, like what made Wu-Tang cool was like they were a group, but they could do whatever they wanted on solo and like sign whatever deals they needed to sign solo and blah, blah, blah. And he was like, I'm still just thinking about the fact that you tried to compare them. And then the funniest thing ever was he went on Travis's podcast and Travis said something about Outcast. And I was like, Outcast, that's what we are.
Yeah.
We're outcasts because we're very different, but we work together, but we don't have to. I was like, you know what, Kevin, we're not Wu-Tang, we're Outcasts. I don't know who's Andre. I don't know who's putting out a flute album. Probably
Andre.
me.
Have you heard that?
I was going to listen to it on Friday because it came out.
Is it already out?
Yeah, it's out.
Is it good?
Andre 3000 is the villain of hip hop. He's an evil person, and I do not respect him. I'm just kidding. I respect him.
Oh my God.
It's so fucking funny what he did.
I love that he did it.
Hilarious.
I love that he did it, and it's so on brand.
Have you ever watched that Key and Peele sketch that they did where they were Big Boy and Andre?
I think so.
Yeah. He I think it was he plays Big Boy or Andre as Peter Pan. Playing a flute.
Yeah.
That's essentially just what he's fucking doing. It's hilarious.
He's a caricature.
And that shit came out like 12 years ago.
Yeah, and it was still accurate.
Yeah.
So he's not rapping at all.
No, nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's just a flute album. Not even just flute. It's really just like ambient
like
noise.
woodwind.
Yeah, it's like ambient noise.
In third grade.
All right, here we go. Buckle in.
Okay, in third grade, we had this musician that was like a woodwind player, and he was like whatever,
And now,
hitting it. And he came and he was peddling his CDs to us. We were in third grade. I bought it. It was $20. I don't know where these $20 came from.
you stole them.
Yeah. I was jamming to that shit. Like, I was Rastafarian or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I loved it. And then I don't know where the fuck that CD went to, but it was like 8 songs. And I was jamming. So when I heard Andre 3000 was putting out that flute stuff, I was like, oh, this is my chance to like relive my.
Was the original one by like Andre 2000?
I think so. He was a lot darker though.
Okay, that's fair.
And like big.
Big.
Oh, okay.
So when he came, I was just like, wow.
So he was a big boy.
Yeah. And I was like, he has so much breath. He has so much wind inside of him. So that made sense. So, but then when Andre 3000, because he's so skinny, I was like, how is he going to have all that breath?
Yeah, years of practice.
So I was
so
like,
many
okay.
photos of him just like circling
carries
the
it around,
internet. Yeah, he just carries it around. He went to like a random open mic in like 2017, and he was like, I'm going to play my flute.
I used to play the flute because of that big black guy that came and peddled his seeds.
2 Stacks. Andre, he had kids with Erykah Badu.
Yeah.
Who lives by White Rock Lake.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, does she?
Yeah.
She's late to everything.
You can drive like right by your house.
And the address is. No,
Oh, you can look it up online.
Yeah.
I used to live right over there, and sometimes I would just drive by and like, I'll just see if I can see Erica Badu outside her house.
Yeah.
You can tell it's her house because it's a right by White Rock Lake, and are all like very traditional, like rich people houses. And you drive by hers, and there's always something wild going on outside.
Yeah,
but
she's not even trying to hide.
yeah, but Andre would come into town a lot, like to visit his kids. They're like adults now, but. My wife used to work at White Rock Coffee down in like Highlands, and apparently like he would come into White Rock Coffee all the time. And then one time somebody was like, "Are you Andre 3000?" And he never came back.
Oh damn!
They're
Like, God, dude, like you gotta know if there's anybody that you should just be like, "Hello, Mr. Benjamin." Like you're just
Mr.
a normal
Benjamin.
guy. Like
I would have been like, "Hello, Mr. 3000."
Yeah.
I do not know Benjamin. But is that his last name?
Andre Benjamin.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would never guess. I thought it was 3000.
He's so cool.
Yeah. But I need to listen to the Flute album just to support his villainy. But
Yeah.
you got to feel like Big Boy is just the most patient person in the world if he doesn't hate Andre at this point. If he's just like, you know what, we could make $1 billion if we got back together. But okay, cool. Play
They
your
did
flute.
that
Play the
tour.
flute.
Yeah.
They did that tour in 2015.
Yeah, I saw an interview about that the other day.
14, one of those.
Yeah,
things.
2014. They did like Coachella and stuff.
They did Coachella and then they did a small tour.
Yeah, and he said Andre said he hated it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was interesting. He was talking about like because he hadn't been on stage in so long, technology had advanced, and like before he had stopped performing, they didn't have the in-ear monitors. So then he's performing, and he's like, I got somebody talking in my ear while I'm performing, and like I hated it, like all this stuff. Like,
What do they do that? What do they do with that? What is that?
It's a monitor that goes into your ear. It
so you
helps.
can hear the music and
Yeah.
stuff. But then someone, backstage will be telling you what's going on, or like, you got to click and all the stuff in your ear.
Yeah. Like,
Oh.
just
as
to do,
opposed
like,
to just having a
transitions
speaker
and
telling
stuff.
you, like, so you can hear the music.
Oh,
But
wow.
I guess it's more.
It also helps with their ears because
So they
it's
don't
at a
blow
lower
out.
it's at a lower volume. And like if you ever see somebody performing and they have like cables and like stuff in their ears, that's what it is.
But blow out their ear?
Well, before that, because you can control the volume in your ear, because it fills up your entire ear, so you don't have to make it really, really, really loud. Before that, they would just have the monitors on stage blasting the music at them for 3 decades as performers. And that's why a lot of old like rock stars and stuff lost their hearing.
Especially
Oh,
drummers.
shit.
Drummers always lose their hearing.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So they
didn't know any of
created
that.
Yeah, they created that so that they can hear the music and they can keep time because rap you gotta hit the
Click
the
track,
lyrics
yeah.
like at certain points in the music. They just made it easier just so that it didn't have to travel as far and also they wouldn't damage their ears.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But he
Damn.
was saying that since he hadn't performed at that point, he hadn't performed in like a decade. So it was just completely different.
That's crazy.
I wonder how the flute tour is gonna go.
Is he doing a tour?
I don't know, probably not.
Oh my god! Imagine I would
Gosh,
go.
can you imagine though if he did? Like, I feel like people would show up and just interrupt and be like,
Oh,
"Hey,
man.
so fresh and so clean. Come on."
Who? Come on.
Yeah.
Oh my god! How long have we been going?
Hour 12.
12. You good?
Yeah.
You gotta get out of here.
I'm good. I'm
You
good.
good? Okay.
Cool.
Good. Because now I want to ask you about your love life. How did you meet your wife?
Okay.
How long have y'all been together?
Okay. Yeah. So this is gonna.
Is it embarrassing? Because I love
No,
embarrassing
it's
stories.
not. It's just gonna open up a lot of other questions. So
Great.
I was working at the sorority house it's called a houseboy, but I was a dishwasher.
Wait. Wait. Your wife got with the houseboy.
Well, so the funny thing is that there of our
That is-
of our group of houseboys,
Wait.
6 of us
That's a
married.
thing?
Yeah, it's pretty common. So like I think 6 of us married
Sorority girls?
like girls in that sorority, yeah. Or at the very yeah, maybe 7.
She ever still make you put on the uniform?
For real.
Yeah. No, but it does set like a bad precedent because it's like she met me like essentially washing dishes, and so it's like that's sort of what I have to like. I'm the dishwasher,
Yeah.
But I like it actually.
Pro.
Of the tasks at home, like it's pretty fun.
Wait,
the one I
walk
hate the
us
most.
through this houseboy job. Like, what do
Yeah,
you...
it's actually the best job I ever had.
Yeah, it sounds
And me and my friends, we all say that. We're like, it was the best job we ever had because it wasn't high paying, obviously, but it was, I don't even know if we made minimum wage.
Did you sleep there?
No. It was like it was literally like 2 shifts a week. So it was like, I think I worked like a breakfast and a lunch or maybe a breakfast and a dinner, but then we got free meals at the sorority house every meal we wanted.
Oh wow! So you could just walk in and
Yeah,
go
so
eat.
I saved thousands of dollars in college because I just ate every meal there.
So this is like a student job?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay,
Well,
okay.
yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
what college did you go to?
Oklahoma.
Oh, okay.
Boomer
Oh, you.
Senator.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boomer.
OU.
Congrats on the win.
Thank you. It was a tough one. Wasn't sure we were going to get it, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah. So, yeah, we worked 2 shifts a week, I think I made $115 a month, but I saved like $500 a month because like we ate every meal. I'd go there before class, grab my breakfast. After class, I'd end up back there at lunch. We just like sit with the sorority girls and like eat lunch.
So
and,
you were just in
So some of the different houses had different sort of rules about what their houseboys could do, but ours was really, really chill. So we could just go whenever, get any meal we wanted, sit out there and, hang out. And
That also helps with your tuition, I would assume, because you didn't have to pay for a meal plan.
right. Yeah. After freshman year, I didn't have to pay for a meal plan. So it was just like, it was either I would, I didn't have to buy that many groceries and I wasn't going like to Whataburger all the time, most of the time, but not all the time, in Canes way too much. But it was cool. It was like, but yeah, it was easy. I mean, just wash dishes and like,
Wow.
use the Hobart machine.
Were you hoeing?
No,
Why?
Met his wife there.
God damn it. What? At all?
no.
He met his wife there.
I feel like that was an
wrong with
opportunity
you?
wasted.
I mean, there were those who did not waste.
Tell us about their
No,
story.
I don't know their stories.
Dang, I thought it was gonna be juicy. Wait, so y'all, how long were you there?
Are y'all like the same age? Y'all were in the
She's a
same
couple
class?
years younger.
Younger? Okay.
Yeah.
Scandalous. So how you were there all 4 years?
I did it sophomore, junior, and senior year. So once I lost my meal plan, I was like, I got to figure out what I'm supposed to do for food because I was just at the calf all the time, and it was like a thing. Like if you knew, I knew people who did it at different houses, and so I had friends in that sorority, Pi Phi till I die, and I was like, hey, if there are any houseboy jobs open up, let me know. And they were like, yeah. And it was like, you kind of have to know somebody, So they're like, yeah, there's one open. Here's the house mom's number. And
House
Mom
mom
Mindy
love
got
that.
me in, So, it was the best job ever. Whenever I went back to a game with my friends earlier this year, and we were like, do you think the Pi Phi House will let us in? I mean, we're like alumni, right? Like we're legacies. Like, can we just walk in and like get some food? But nobody we know is still there because that was it was 10 years ago.
So, but you didn't meet her your sophomore year there. You
No.
met her.
I met her when I was a senior and she was a sophomore.
How did you not? You just didn't. You weren't. That wasn't your vibe.
No, he was there for meals and to do dishes.
What is your question?
Like
Why you weren't hoeing?
Oh,
Yeah.
why I wasn't having? Yeah, no,
it just seems like
not my vibe.
Plum Pickens. Like
No,
not
that's
your vibe.
not my vibe.
Not your
No.
persona to be.
Monogamy guy. So yeah.
Do you feel like you're okay with that decision though?
Yeah, of course.
You don't regret it.
No, not at all.
Okay. Well,
You say that like you don't believe him.
humans are humans. But yeah,
Yeah,
That's great.
No regrets.
I just thought it was gonna be juicier than that. So,
no,
like,
that's why I say that. Like when I introduced the idea, everyone expects it to be way more
Yeah,
exciting on the
yeah.
other, and I'm like, it's actually not that exciting. Like we all just literally met like our wives. None of
Yeah.
us like.
But that's
I
kind of
like
cute.
that. Yeah, I like that story better.
Yeah, it's more
Well,
wholesome.
no, it would have
Yeah.
been way better the other way around.
Well-
But I mean, of course, you're not gonna disclose. It would have been nice to get like the inside scoop or whatever.
No, there's really nothing to disclose. Like,
So
Next
when
time,
you-
just lie. I
yeah,
guess.
just lie. Like,
okay, all
but
right.
also like let us know you're lying.
forget about this, and when she asks again in like 6 months, just lie.
Okay, all right. I'll come with a better story
Shut
next time.
up.
I didn't know we were getting into the love life stuff.
Well, but like when you met her, like what?
Did y'all start dating like immediately?
Yeah.
Or were y'all friends first?
So I met her because I had other friends, like in sororities or whatever. There's like the big sister and the little sister and everything. So I was friends with her big sister in their sorority.
I know. Like I was on.
See, I don't know what people know, and
I
I
was
also
on Bama
like,
TikTok.
oh, okay, you were on Bama TikTok. That's how
Yeah,
you know.
I know all the ins and outs.
See, I don't know what people know, and I also like when I think back, I'm like, why do I know this?
I know
stuff?
they
Like, this is very
rush.
silly.
They
Yeah,
do
it's crazy. It's
rush.
crazy. I only
There's a
worked.
lot of money that goes into that shit.
Yeah, I think I worked one rush. Maybe I didn't. Yeah, I worked one rush because you can make a lot of money at Rush because you're working like 12 hours. Like you're there every day for like a week before school starts.
Crazy.
I think I worked a couple of days at Rush, but I had my friends would go like 2 weeks early to school and work the whole Rush, and it was insane. And they were like, these people are nuts. But
Like
but as houseboys, it was legit. You're just hanging out with your boys 12 hours a day, making money in the summer when there's nothing going on.
Yeah.
And you're hanging out there when they're doing some crazy, whatever they're working on, like we're playing basketball or like,
That's so
just
cool.
hanging out and just waiting to be, hey, we need you to do this. And so, it was, like I said, best job I ever had.
So it wasn't just like washing dishes. It was like whatever they needed you to do.
During the year, it was washing dishes. During Rush, there was a lot more tasks. Hey, can you move this table? How can you do this? Whatever. But during the year, it was
like catering, right?
Yeah. During the year, though, it was just washing dishes and whatever. I think back in the day, the houseboys would have to wear like suits, and they were like waiters, and they would like serve them like in the 60s or whatever. But then by this time, it was like, now you just show up, you washing dishes, you get your food, and then you leave.
Wow.
But like we would hang out with the cooks, and like they were just such a wild bunch of people. And, like, this lady KK was the main cook for a while, and she was just like this boisterous old black lady that we just loved, and she loved us so much. And, man, she was incredible. But
You think she's still alive? Diabetes probably got her.
I'm not saying that, but she didn't make a lot of healthy life choices.
Yeah.
One time she pulled me aside right before Friday. She was like, Scott, I need to ask you something. I was like, yeah. She's like, I need to go to the liquor store before the weekend starts, and I don't have any cash. She's like, can you just give me $20? I will pay you back on Monday. And I'm like 19. And she's kind of my boss. And I was like, yeah, sure, KK. I'll see you Monday. And she paid me back. She gave me the money back. Totally
But she
fine.
needed her liquor.
Yeah, she needed it before the weekend started. And I was like, okay.
That's understandable.
Yeah, I was like, whatever. And she paid me back. And the house mom pulled me aside and was like, did KK ask you for $20 to go to the liquor store? And I was like, what? Like, I'm not a snitch, but I was like, all I can say is she did pay me back, so we're even. So nobody should
It's
be in
fine,
trouble.
it's all
She was
good.
like-
Harm, no foul.
She was just like, okay. But she was great. Like when we would be sick, she would make us the most disgusting concoction of like chicken broth and like, those like old timey
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like, and she would just be like, she'd give it to us, and she'd be like, it's a lot more effective if you put whiskey in it, but I can't give it to you with whiskey. And we were like, this is the grossest thing I've ever seen. But it
you
kind of
ate
worked.
it,
It kind of worked.
yeah.
You drink it, it like really opened you up. Like kind of wanted to throw up, but it really opened you up.
That's
Because you're not
hilarious.
thinking about anything else.
No,
other than
yeah.
just-
Your throat doesn't hurt anymore because you're
Yeah.
just like, what is, like, is there a bone in this? Like,
Yeah.
Ew.
Pull out chicken feet and shit.
Yeah. It was so gross. But yeah, dude, that was a.
I didn't realize the sororities had like help. Like they had like people in there that were cooking.
Yeah,
and cleaning and
There's
everything.
there's usually like one chef, cook, whatever they want to call it, and then like an assistant. So it's like two people.
Okay.
But it's so expensive. Like they
yeah.
spend so much money on that
To
shit,
be in the
dude.
sorority?
Yes.
And the food was good, and as like
The
dudes,
food is good.
As dudes, we loved it because it was like mostly like not healthy stuff.
Oh no.
No. I mean, they were making like, fried chicken, and like they were like, and we were like, this is awesome, and the girls were like, can we just get like some salads? Or, like,
Oh, that's crazy.
stop, like, because they were so like they didn't want to gain weight or whatever.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
like, yeah, like this is the best food ever, and like, why are y'all not like, fine, we'll take seconds. Why are y'all not eating this? Like,
It's
they're
just
like,
all
this is, like,
southern comfort food.
yeah, they were like, this is the third like fried meal in a row, and we're like, and we're gonna go to Cane's tomorrow. Like, it's totally fine, but
When I fell into that TikTok Alabama Rush rabbit
Yeah.
hole, they have such good food and it's all healthy.
yeah, I'm
Like,
sure it's better now.
Nah, yeah, it's,
sure
but
Yeah,
it's
they probably care now.
And Alabama is like a next level. Like,
Oh, yeah,
Oklahoma is
yeah.
like, I'm gonna say like 50-50. Like half the people are like really into fraternity sorority, and there's plenty of people that aren't. And so like
Yeah.
if you're not, you can have a great time, and if you are, you can have a great time.
Yeah.
Some of these schools, if you're not, then you're just kind of like on the outskirts.
yeah,
just there.
Bama's like
As far as I know about Bama, it's kind of
Oh,
like that. Yeah. It's
yeah.
like
Especially all the
70-80%.
like which one calls it the SEC schools, I would
Yeah.
assume, are all the big sororities.
Yeah. Yeah.
they, like they
sorority and
go all
fraternity
crazy
houses.
when like their dorm rooms in the sorority, like
yeah.
they've spent so much money on that shit. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never knew what the dues were for like fraternities and sororities, like how much you actually had to pay per year.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Well, because but it's not even that. It's like the events that you have to dress up for too.
there's and like I wore. So I wasn't in like a traditional fraternity. I was in a fraternity called Brothers in Christ, which is like a Christian fraternity. And so we didn't have a house, and like it was more like a combination of just like hanging out with like people, your friends,
like a spirit group.
Yeah. So our dues were like $200 a semester, but the traditional ones were like 2,000 or 3. Like it was like a whole. I don't know.
Rick, it's
I
even
just know
more
that
now.
I just know people were like, "Yo, it's like 10 times what y'all are paying," and we were like, "Oh," because like some of us, like some people were like couldn't make the dues.
Yeah,
But but that was what I liked about my fraternity was that it was like not just the rich dudes. Like it was everybody. Anybody who wanted to be in this Christian fraternity. Which is, a self-selecting group, but like it wasn't just like rich kids hanging out with rich kids. Like we had people from all over and like a very diverse group.
it's essentially what it is. Though it's just a bunch. It's like the top, like the 1%. They're kids. And it's just,
And so that never had an appeal for me.
Yeah.
Just I didn't want to like. I was like, I don't want to pay like for friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is essentially like you're paying for connections.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people who had a great time. I don't mean to like insult the whole thing because I know people had a lot of fun. So and they met their
there's a lot of people
lifelong
that like
friends and so
they're still friends with all their fraternity brothers, the roommates that they had, and then they go on to live with them after college and find jobs with each other.
Like my friends that I lived with until I got married were and still are my best friends. Like they're guys that were in my fraternity, but I just personally, even though I'm very extroverted, I was like, I do not want to live in a house with 100 other dudes. That sounds like literally the worst experience of my life. Like so gross and just nobody. Just be quiet. Like nobody's quiet. It sounds awful, right?
Like just partying all the time.
Yeah, and even if they're not partying, they're just like, yep, man, playing ping pong until 2 a.m. Like I just didn't want any of that. It just never appealed to me. So
did you have roommates in college? Or
I had 3 roommates, and we had a great time. But it was 3 of us.
But yeah.
Like,
I feel like extrovert. I'm very extroverted, but like my battery, it runs out.
Yeah.
So fast.
Exactly.
So you gotta catch me in or dose me up with something.
Yeah, like my friends and I and our families, like we'll do trips together, and I like it. But after like a day 2, I need to go somewhere. I'm like, do we need to get groceries? Like,
I'll go.
I'm gonna go. One person can come with me, or I'll go by myself. But like, let me just go do something outside of this. I don't need all these people. And I'm like, I'm the most extroverted person, but I'm like, I do need some time to just like some quiet.
Yeah. We just went on a trip with a bunch of our friends and
it was like 15 of us.
Yeah. In a cabin in where? Oklahoma?
Broken
Yeah.
Broken Bow.
Yeah, I love Broken Bow.
And
yeah, we've done those. Yeah.
I thought, and everyone around me, because I am the crazy one in our group, thought that I was just gonna be out here acting ridiculous. And like the moment I got there, I was like, oh, like this is gonna require a lot.
Yeah. Especially when you get out like a remote place. Where like, I can't go anywhere. I guess I can go on a hike. But, it's harder to get.
It was like it threw me off.
Did you go to Girls Gone Wine in Hockatown?
No. We stayed because we bought up so much shit, and we stayed. It was for one of my friends' birthday, and it was.
Did
just
you see
like,
Bigfoot?
No, I was very scared to go on the hikes.
I have a question for Mexicans.
Yes, we believe in Bigfoot.
Okay, that was
every
my
last
question.
one of us.
Are you guys like big Bigfoot people? Like, and I don't mean you guys. I mean like stereotype. I'm trying to be racist.
What's
here.
Bigfoot?
Bigfoot, Sasquatch.
The Yosemite?
No.
You mean the Yeti?
Yeti?
The Yosemite.
I know the Yeti.
Okay.
What?
Bigfoot.
You don't know
I know Bigfoot, but what?
So I guess that's answering my question. This is not part
What
of the
answers
culture.
it for her? It depends. We have different ones.
The chupacabra?
We have the chupacabra.
The chupacabra's not big though.
La Llorona.
La Llorona. We
The
got that.
chupacabra's not big.
No, chupacabra is small.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tiny.
But I'm saying,
But
like, we're talking about
urban
like,
legends. Urban
what are they called?
legends and
Cryptids? Cryptids?
Yeah.
That's what they're called, like basically made up creatures.
Oh. Chupacabra.
Yeah,
The big one, yeah.
But not Bigfoot. Bigfoot's not. So the reason I asked this.
If you're like first generation here, you would know about it just because it like.
But like if I
everybody
went to
kinda
Mexico,
knows.
nobody would know Bigfoot necessarily. They might like have an idea, but
Yeah.
There's not like
Maybe.
legends about it.
Yeah.
The legends are
Ah.
about the chupacabra.
Yeah.
Yeah. That-
Chupacabra's our thing.
yeah, chupacabra, La
La
Llorona,
Llorona.
witches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's some other ones, but like our family primarily is like from the north of Mexico, so they would probably know just because of the proximity to
Yeah.
the
To
United
them,
States.
yeah.
If you go a little more central, a little more further
They're
south,
not gonna,
yeah.
They're not gonna
Yeah,
know
I
what's
just
up.
asked that because my neighbor, they're good friends. They're Mexican.
Wait, you had to throw in that there are good friends.
Well, no, like what I mean by that is like I've had many conversations with him, and he's a huge Bigfoot fan. Like he has a Bigfoot bumper sticker. He wears a Bigfoot hat. He wears Bigfoot shirts. He got my son a Bigfoot like keychain or something, and they love going to Broken Bow. And Broken Bow is Bigfoot country. Like that's
is
that
it
whole
really?
the area like the
That I did not know.
I didn't
yeah,
know
so
that.
like that, like southeastern part of Oklahoma is like the Choctaw Reservation. If you drive there, if you stop at any gas station, they're selling only like Bigfoot stuff. Like I
That
guess there's
actually
been a lot
makes
of
sense.
sightings. Yeah.
Did you see the gas station that we drove past?
Yeah,
There was,
there's a
like,
whole
something-
Sasquatch gas station. Yeah,
Yeah, it was-
it's a big deal there.
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway,
Whoa.
so he loves
I
Broken
thought it
Bow.
was
He always buys Bigfoot stuff. But what I don't know, and I haven't like, and again, we're good friends, but I don't know how to ask him. Like, is this funny? Or do you actually think Bigfoot
Believe it.
exists? You
Oh,
know,
no, if
because
he's buying merchandise, he believes it.
okay,
Yeah.
that's what I'm
Bigfoot
like.
is out there.
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
you don't know if you should
but I don't know
make
how to
fun of
ask
it.
that, right? Because if you ask, it's kind of like, do you really believe in Santa Claus kind of thing? Where he's
Yeah.
like, oh wait, like, do you?
Do you not
Am
think?
am I an idiot now? You know?
that's
Yeah.
So I don't want to do it. So I
You
just
also
like,
don't want to ask and then have him be like, oh, like have
Yeah.
a different opinion of you
Right.
because you don't believe
right?
it.
Because then I
Yeah.
don't want to be like, I don't want to ruin his fun.
Yeah,
So
how dare
like,
you?
I like one time he was telling me a story. Like he said his Jeep got stuck. And when he was out there, and I was like, "Oh man, you gotta be careful because of Bigfoot." And he was like, "Yeah." So the next day, he just moved
Brushed
on.
it off.
He didn't
But,
laugh,
no,
but he didn't go, "Yeah, I was afraid." He just was like, "Ha, "Yeah." So we had to get a tow truck, and I was
Damn.
like, "All right." So it's not part of the culture, is what I'm asking.
No,
I didn't
no,
think so.
no.
I was
It's
like,
not
I've never
part of the
heard it, but
culture.
I was like, man, I don't know how to approach this because like I don't want to be rude, but like.
I'm
It
so
would-
glad you asked us.
It would have been so funny if he corrected you when you said that. Like,
Yeah.
actually, I was more further north into Oklahoma.
Yeah,
he wouldn't
yeah,
even
he was
be
like,
in there, Scott.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And he-
dummy.
what if he's like, it's actually Sasquatch? That's the proper
Yeah.
term. So.
Bigfoot is a derogatory
Yeah,
term.
yeah.
Only they use it.
They're people. Only the native Bigfoots can call themselves Bigfoot.
But like the Loch Ness monster, I believe in that shit. I believe in the Loch
New
Ness
Jersey
monster.
Devil.
I believe in Bigfoot. I didn't know about it. I didn't know that it was like
He
a
lives
Mexican
close.
thing.
He could come visit you.
No.
That I did not know. I thought he was like up in Washington or something.
Yeah,
Well,
same.
that's like the Yeti, right? It's like in the more
Oh,
like
okay.
mountains. I think Sasquatch is like a more that Washington area, but that southeastern Oklahoma area, they're in.
Very big.
There's probably multiple areas that are in, but that is like
Yeah.
a big area for the Squatch sightings.
That took a turn.
What?
The whole
You,
Bigfoot
you
thing.
mentioned Broken Bow. I'm gonna
Yeah.
gonna talk about.
Now it makes more sense that we saw that.
Yeah, there's lots of
Sasquatch
stuff
gas
like
station.
that.
Yeah.
It's probably really confusing if you didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
what,
I didn't
I love
even,
Oklahoma. Like I only went to school there for 4 years, but I love the state. It is a very weird place, very strange. Like people don't realize it. They think like just like oh whatever, like
Country.
classic country, like Republican, whatever. And yeah, but like there's some weirdos. And like
Really?
it's
Yeah.
really unique, and it, like just because I don't know, it's like. You're kind of just out there, right? Like you're out in the middle of
Yeah.
nowhere,
There's
and
not
like there's a lot of
really anything to
really
do.
unique people.
that shit is scary. Like we went on a small hike,
Yeah.
but I was very much the one that was like, okay, time to turn around now.
Yeah.
Like
There was
I
a little
don't
bit of that,
like wilderness. I'm the first one to run.
Oh, yeah?
I hear a
Did you see-
something.
Did you see the little fawns that were there?
Yeah, we saw them.
Right?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they were like in the little area that we were at, there was like fawns walking
Yeah.
around. I just couldn't remember if y'all saw it or not.
I
If
think
it was
we
when
did see it.
I
Yeah,
can't remember if it was before or after
it was
y'all
when we
went
were
on.
in the hot tub.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
saw them when
yeah.
we were in the hot tub. But no, like no. And one of our friends went like on an hour-long hike. I was like, I'm not
Who did I don't
putting
know.
myself in that risk. Like, why
Well,
would
we-
you want to die?
Well, me and Aaron and
It was
Lewis.
Aaron and Lewis. They went on an hour-long hike.
no, they didn't go on a hike. They went like on a 8-mile run.
Oh, whatever the fuck. I'm not
Yeah.
going nowhere for
Because I
an
ran- I
hour
ran
in the
with-
country.
No, they were gone for hours, dude. They were gone for like 2-3 hours.
Like a trail run.
Imagine.
Yeah.
They probably
went-
died.
No, they didn't die. They most certainly did not die.
They
No, I know, but they could
probably
have.
did.
Actually,
She said they probably did.
Yeah.
they did probably die. I haven't seen them.
Have y'all seen Reservation Dogs?
I love that show.
Dude, that's Oklahoma.
Oh, is it?
Oh, dude, it's like the most Oklahoma show ever. Yeah,
Is it
it's
based?
what I loved about.
See?
Yeah, it's based in
Propaganda.
the area of Oklahoma. Like, but what I love about that show is there's so much stuff that you wouldn't get, that nobody would get
Unless you lived in Oklahoma.
unless you lived in Oklahoma. And there's a lot of stuff I don't get because I'm not like native, right? There's lots
Yeah.
of native jokes, but there's lots of just real specific Oklahoma stuff that I'm like, I can't believe they put that in like a Hollywood show. Like,
Oh man,
I
that makes me
barely
wanna
get
watch
that.
it all over again.
Yeah, dude. And like, I mean, honestly, like some of the things that they hit over and over again, like they're obsessed with Sonic
Yeah.
and they call it Sonics.
Sonic.
And I get our Sonics, man. Like all of that is like so part of that part of Oklahoma because it's from Shawnee, I think.
Yeah.
That's where Sonic started. And like people are freaking obsessed with Sonic and it's
Sonic's
everywhere.
from Oklahoma?
Yeah, dude.
What?
Sonic and Brahms. And like
Brahms?
I thought
Yeah,
that was
dude.
us.
Nah, dude, no. They
I'm so
fight. They
upset.
will fight you about Brahms. Like
I love Brahms.
you know.
My friend, her boyfriend is from New York. And every time they come down to Texas, Brahms.
That's what they
they're
go?
obsessed with Brahms. Lord,
Really?
they think that's like the Texan thing to do.
That's funny. It's
Brahms.
an Oklahoma thing to do.
Oh, sorry. I love Reservation
You don't like
Dogs.
Brahms? You,
I like their ice cream. I don't
Okay.
think their burgers and stuff are that good, but
it's fine.
I mean, it's for cheap. Yeah,
I
cheap
only
fast
eat
food. It's
Bluebell.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only eat Bluebell.
You only eat
Bluebell.
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 I didn't. I've seen you eat way different stuff than Bluebell.
100% no. You are no. I only eat Bluebell. That's all.
Are you sponsored
She's
by
a liar.
Bluebell? Is this an
I
ad?
am,
Are we doing an
yes.
ad read right now?
And
Bluebell.
speaking of which,
Honestly, Bluebell, reach out.
I was so upset when Bluebell.
When they kill people?
We don't care about that. Send us ice cream.
Don't sue me, Bluebell. No, but like people died from listeria. And
Yeah, when they went away.
everyone in Texas was like more mad that we took the Bluebell than that
Yeah,
people died. They
dude.
were like, we don't care that people died. Give us the Blue. It's a risk we're willing to take.
100%. That was my thought process
Like-
on that.
Like, we're all going to die at some point.
100%. Like,
And
who
if
are
you-
you to tell me I can't die?
If you die from like Millennium Crunch, like, okay.
Yeah. If you die from ice cream, that's not the worst way you could die.
Honestly, no, because you enjoyed it at the beginning.
Yeah. So, yeah, I did think that was funny. People were more upset about that.
I was Reservation Dog though. That got me saying the F word after
Oh,
everything.
dude.
My husband was so upset with me
The
after
F
a
word?
certain
F
point.
word?
Yeah, because after everything they go fuck.
Yeah, it's like a period and then
Yeah,
Oh.
it's a period.
I thought you were saying the gay
Oh,
slur.
right.
Oh, the one you
yeah,
really
so
should
that's
say.
like
Yo.
where you go when you think of me. It's in F word.
Not you. I just thought it
Oh,
was in
the
Oklahoma.
show.
Clearly, I don't know anything about
I would be honest
Oklahoma.
with you, it probably is an Oklahoma thing, but
I was just like,
no,
oh my
yeah,
God,
it's like
fuck.
it's really like that show is a really weird like way of talking.
Yeah.
But yeah, they use it as like a period. Like, just they end every sentence like that. It's weird.
That show though got me thinking of like everything that Mexican American is for us, because the shows that like this or this fool that show, everything that's Mexican in TV is very LA, like East
Yeah.
LA Mexican, which is not us.
Have you seen Primo?
No, I haven't seen that.
Oh, you haven't seen Primo? Do you know who Shea Serrano is?
I've heard the name.
Okay, so he's an author out of San Antonio. Super popular. If you Google him, you'll be like, oh my gosh, how do I not know who this guy is? He's a 4-time New York Times bestseller. And his books, the best-selling books are, oh my gosh, the rap yearbook. So he did the like
Oh,
best
yes,
rap,
I know.
yeah.
Yes,
and then he
yes,
did
yes,
basketball and other things, movies and
Yeah.
other things.
I was gonna buy that for my husband.
Okay, it's
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
awesome. And I've interviewed him a couple times. I kind of know him.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
And then the illustrator is this guy Arturo Torres,
Mm-hmm.
who lives in Oak Cliff. He's actually a friend of mine now because I did a story on him for Texas Monthly. But he's become a friend, and he's an unbelievable illustrator. So y'all should definitely like look these up. But
Yeah.
Shay wrote a show that's on Freevee, which is through Amazon. So if you have Amazon Prime, you can watch it.
Oh, I have it.
Called Primo, and it's kind of like his own life. But it's a very Texan Mexican experience
wow.
because it's all about like his single mom and then his 5 uncles who just like spend every day at the house, and he's like a teenager.
I know what show you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's a show, though.
Yeah,
it's like
a
a
show.
it's like an 8-part show, but it's so good and it's like very kind of like wholesome, but like not like lame. Like it's like a
Not the stereotype that they make it.
yeah, and it's
I
not
have not
LA.
seen one
It's
like
very
that.
like Texas, like
Oh,
Mexican
man.
experience. It's really cool. And again, I don't have that experience, but I can watch that and appreciate it and like see specific. Oh, like that's very like Texas. Very like that's not something you normally see in Hollywood because Shay wrote it as a kid who grew up in San Antonio.
Yeah.
And so that's what this show is about. But yeah, you should watch it. It's really, really good. It's one of my favorite shows that came out last year.
You know Muhammad, right? Mercy?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
He grew up in LA, like in East LA.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So he'll always ask me like, "Oh, do you know like about this or like what's the difference between like LA Mexicans and like Southern Mexicans and shit like that?"
Yeah.
It's interesting because like all of those answers can be, or all of those questions can be answered if you just watch like a TV show from like
or
the perspective of them.
If you just go to a Dodger game in LA, you'll see there's a difference.
Yeah.
Have you ever like?
No.
It's wild. Like you go to a Dodger game, you're like, oh yeah, these people would not fit in Texas. They're Mexican, but that's a different
It's very
like,
East
vibe.
LA
It's a different
type.
thing. Like it's really interesting. But they love their Dodgers. It's cool. I mean, it actually is really cool how like I'm a big baseball fan, so I just love that like that's such a part of the culture.
Yeah.
And it, like actually is cool. And like obviously the Rangers are cool now because they won the World Series, but like they weren't cool for a long time when I was watching every freaking game for my whole life.
So long.
But
you ever go to any of the games in the old stadium?
Yeah, you had a lot.
Yeah,
like
I read an article about that. You mean like the ballpark in Arlington or the old stadium?
The old one.
I thought I didn't, and my mom found a picture of me when I was 2, and I went to the original stadium when I was 2.
Nice.
Wow.
So that was I thought I had never been there, but
There was a lot of people. Oh my! I cry. I love to cry. But I cry very easily. So when you were posting that stuff, I was crying. There was a lot of other friends that their husbands had experiences with like the Rangers and their dads. There was one that like passed away and like he was crying.
yeah.
I was
It's
just like
serious,
that whole thing like opened up so much. Did you go to the parade?
I did, yeah. It was wild, and also,
I heard it was bad.
well,
Bad.
Yeah,
it depended on your experience.
Okay.
I mean, there were
was
700,000 people there. Some people had a good time, some people didn't. You know?
Yeah, it was very mixed reviews.
You know, I will say like I was in the minority, which was cool.
Well, I mean, you're in Texas.
Yeah, you know, but it was awesome. It was like just like it was so cool because it was literally people. It was like Hispanic people, it was Black people, it was white people. It was everybody was just there. There were 700,000 people there. There was no organization. I mean, like it was like pretty wild.
Yeah.
And there were no like major incidents.
Yeah.
I didn't see anybody get in a fight.
A couple people got arrested, but
People got arrested, but like the cops literally like it was like the purge. That people were just walking around drinking of any age. There were no rules. There were no laws enforced. The cops were literally just letting you do whatever you wanted as long as you were having a good time.
yeah.
That's
But
awesome.
everybody had a good time.
Yeah.
And it was exhausting. And like if they win again, when they win again next year and the next year and the next year and the next year, I'm not going to the parade again because it was like exhausting. But I went to the one and I'm happy I did.
Yeah.
You went to the one and you went to the first one. This is
Yeah,
the first
the
time
first- the
franchise.
most
Oh, this is
important
the
one.
first one ever?
Yeah.
First
And,
World Series win in
52
franchise
years.
history.
Yeah. That's why it was so big. And
How
so,
long did it take us to even get to the World Series?
well, the first time the Rangers went was 2010. So
Yeah,
that was
so that was-
40 something years.
Yeah.
Then they lost in 2010, 2011. So then they won this year. It's 52 years since they got here in Texas. But yeah, it was awesome. But it really was funny because it was like, there are no laws.
That's
And I
good.
we did like feel like there was hope for the next generation because Arlington High did not have school. Arlington ISD did not have school that day.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw that,
But it was logistical because like 700,000 people are coming to town. Those school buses could not get to school.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, they could not make
Oh,
it.
I thought it was Pride.
I think it was both, but
A
it
lot-
was definitely
it was
because they
some
had
of
to
that.
staff like the cops for the parade, like Fort Worth police and maybe Dallas. I don't know, but definitely Fort Worth police were covering Arlington regular routes and stuff because all Arlington cops were like there.
Oh wow.
So it was a big deal. But yeah, the high school kids were on the roofs of these office buildings. They like found the ladders and they're on the roofs of the office building. And at one point while we're waiting, and it was really slow and like there was a lot of just like poor organization, which I mean they planned it in like a day.
Yeah.
So whatever. We turned around and people
I
were
also
cheering.
thought that was weird.
Yeah. But I think they did it on a Friday instead of a Saturday because if they did it Saturday, instead of 700,000 people, there might have been 1.4 million people
Yeah.
there. You
Fair
know?
point.
That was
So-
that
That's
the
was
one to go,
smart.
though.
That was
They were
smart.
like, this could be real bad. But we turn around, we hear cheering, we turn around, and these high school kids have tied all their hoodies together to a backpack, and they've lowered it down, and then people were throwing like beers and like hard seltzers and stuff, and then they would like reel it back up, and then pass it all out. They're like, yeah, and like cops are
so
just watching
cool.
it happen. And I was like, we were looking and we're like, man, the next generation, like that's innovation. They
They're
saw a
all
problem
right.
and they solved that problem. You know, and the
They're all
adults
right.
are just here supporting them. And like there were parents that were like, "That's my son up there." But yeah, it was
I'd be
crazy.
okay if that was my boy.
Yeah, it was
Honestly, yeah.
It was wild. It was just like the most like just everyone was just having a good time. I was nervous though because I was like, somebody want to do something bad, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, the cops are really smart about. They blocked all the roads with dump trucks, so you could not get a car into where people were. Right.
That's good.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because I was nervous about that.
Oh,
But
because
once
that can
somebody
be a
literally
problem.
had dump trucks blocking the roads and the sidewalks, so you could not. So they knew they were smart enough with that. The organization of just like the actual parade was kind of a disaster. But
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you thought it was going to be a well-oiled machine planned the day after, like for the first time ever, like
If it was like, oh, this is a conspiracy. Like they had too much time
Yeah,
to plan.
exactly.
Like, what are we doing here?
I saw somebody say like because most teams when they do their parade, it's like through downtown of the main city, Chicago or whatever. But the Texas Rangers play in Arlington.
Yeah.
They're not the Dallas Rangers and not the Fort Worth Rangers. You can't have it in one of the cities, so they just did it in Arlington by the stadium. Someone was like, I love that the Rangers parade is just going in circles around parking lots. They're like, absolutely no notes. This is perfect. This is Arlington for you. This is incredible.
It's the best.
Which is more like, what is it called? Like more like
Authentic.
authentic.
Yeah, it's very authentic to Arlington.
Yeah.
They asked Jerry Jones on the radio. They were like, "Hey, if the Cowboys win the Super Bowl, like, will you do the same parade route?" And he was like, "Well, I hope to have to make that decision someday, and that will be the hardest." He just wouldn't answer it because he was like, "It's going to be in Dallas, guys. We're the
Yeah,
Dallas
like,
Cowboys."
what are we
He
doing
doesn't want to
here?
make Arlington mad, so he's just like, "Well, one day I hope to make that decision." Like, no, it's in Dallas.
Yeah. What are we doing?
Totally. Because that's what they did with the Mavs whenever they won in 2011. They planned it out like a week after.
Yeah, but it was in Dallas because
Yeah,
they're
it
the
was in
Dallas
downtown.
Mavericks. They play
Yeah.
in downtown. But if you play in Arlington, you're getting tax dollars from Arlington. You kind of
You gotta do it
But I
there.
mean, they're the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
They don't play in Dallas, but
Yeah.
their headquarters in Frisco, and they play in Arlington. So.
You think it would be in Frisco? Do you think they'd do it in Frisco?
No, they have to do it in Dallas, dude. It's the Dallas Cowboys. But also beforehand, they played in Irving. So
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest though.
Irving.
No, I mean, like, when are we gonna have? Are we gonna have to actually
Oh,
see a
right,
parade?
right,
Like, I'm a
right,
Cowboys fan. I
right.
have no faith that's gonna happen anytime soon.
Yeah. What are we?
We'll get there.
Apparently, at the first Cowboys in the first Super Bowl in the '90s, their parade devolved into a riot, like
Hell
in
yeah.
'93.
Hell yeah.
Please, that would be insane for that to happen now.
Yeah.
Come on.
With
Come
social
on.
media and stuff, like,
Yeah.
it would be nuts. But yeah,
The Eagles
apparently,
still
like,
do
I think cars were getting like flipped over and stuff.
The Eagles do it when they win.
Yeah,
or lose.
that's just Philly though.
Yeah, that's Philly sports.
They like grease the poles so people can't climb the light poles.
No way.
They really do. The
Yeah.
cops put grease on the poles because
What
people
the
will climb the light poles.
fuck?
Yeah,
But what is the? I guess maybe the adrenaline. Like, why
It's
would you
really
flip a
just living in
car?
Philly and not having much else to live for.
yeah.
No, but I mean in Dallas, like
Oh, I don't know.
we're fine. Right?
90s were a wild time.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it was a lot more fun. People were wild. Throwing
That
shit in
doesn't
the
sound
air.
like fun to me.
It was awesome. I assume.
I try to
I
avert
wasn't here
death
until a
at
year
all
later,
times.
so I have to assume that it was awesome.
How old are you?
29.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Who do you think is older?
I told you her age at the beginning.
I can't answer that question. So me.
Oh, because it's me.
Well,
Yeah.
I just shaved.
Ricky, you look like you're 40. I'm sorry to tell you. Doesn't he?
A distinguished 40. That's fine.
Look at his wrinkle on his forehead.
I do not look
I feel
40 and you
uncomfortable
know
answering
it.
this question.
I
You
do not
do.
look 40
Look like
and
you
you know
already
it.
have crow's feet.
Yeah.
You're
okay.
not even smiling
He's
right
just
now.
stressed.
Yeah.
Driving that forklift all day, like,
Me what?
The forklift is the only piece
oh, that's
I get.
the serene. That's the serene part of your
the only
job.
piece I get.
Look, see. And I don't. I look 16.
Yep.
You caked up makeup.
Yeah, so
Helps with that.
you could have done it too.
You can cake it up.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Well, whatever. Anyways,
I do not look 40. How dare you?
you do.
I do not.
And especially with that long hair that you have going on.
Dude, yesterday I saw a dude with a ponytail, but it was only like the back hair. All
It was
this
like bald. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that look.
I was like, nice.
I think I'm
should
gonna
do
go
that.
for that because like I can't grow it up here. I'm losing it up here, but I got plenty back here. So I think
Yeah.
I should do the ponytail, the
Go
bald
with the ponytail,
ponytail.
man.
I think that's a good look.
It's a wild look. And he was with a lady. He was with his wife.
Attractive lady?
No, of course
There,
not.
well, there you go.
Well, I saw a guy took my son to the playground the other day, and he was like an older guy. You know, I don't know, in his late 40s, had that same hair, and he was at the playground, and I was like, yo. why is this guy at the playground? And then there were 3 kids, and they were like, Dad. And he was their dad. And you know what? He was an amazing dad. So he really was. But I mean, at first I was like, oh. And I like wanted to tell him, like, yo, like,
what are you doing?
You seem like a great dad. Like, unless you're like a musician, you know, you should not be rocking that hair anymore because that's not dad hairstyle. But if you, I just assumed he's like a classic rock musician. Like he plays keys for like a Led Zeppelin cover band or something, you know, like. Then
that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you're like an accountant or something.
Yeah. You can't
let the ponytail go.
Mm-hmm. Would you ever do the transplant?
No. I'm cool with being bald. Yeah. I actually would prefer if I could just go bald.
Oh, all over.
Like, you know, like I don't want to like be hanging on to the side and stuff because it's like, it's just more work. Because now I have to shave my head because this on top is like, you can't grow it out.
Or we'll always wear hats.
Yeah, and that's why I wear hats all the time. Mm-hmm. Hat guy. But yeah, I knew it was going to happen. Like, because it's like, it comes from your mom's side, and my grandfather hasn't had hair
from your mom's side?
Yeah. So I've always known like I was going to go bald pretty early. So I just wish it would happen faster, honestly. Just so
when did it start?
I don't know. Probably when I was like 28, 29.
Oh, okay.
So you were
But I mean, I had hair until like, I started shaving it like 2 years ago because I was just tired of like trying to make it look good. And I never wanted to be comb over guy. So I was like, once I got to the point where I was like, I think the only option is comb over guy. Then I was like, I'm just going to shave.
Yeah. So do you shave?
Yeah. I shave okay. Saves a lot of money on haircuts. I do miss my old barber though.
You can just go in for like moral support.
Yeah. He left the barber profession to work on the railroad.
All the live long day. Yeah,
I have a lot of stories about Aaron. I've tried to do a bit about him the other day. It kind of worked, it kind of didn't, but yeah, he was wild. He was this black guy, and we met him at like Floyd's. You know what Floyd's barbershop is? It's like a rock barbershop, but he was like the only black guy that worked there. And then he broke off and he started his own thing with like some other black guys called Black Shear. And so me and my friends who were like his loyal customers, we would go and we would just be the white guys. And like they would have the chart,
you know
the chart in a barbershop of like the types of haircuts you can get as like a black guy or a Mexican guy. They had both of those, but they did not have a white guy chart. And I really wanted to one time just be like, can I get the high top fade? But he was great. But I always say like he was like the Kanye West of barbers because he was an artist with the hair. But to get to the art, you had to deal with 45 minutes of unhinged ranting. Yeah. And he was the most insane person I've ever met.
Oh my God. That's the type of person I wish we can get on the pod.
Oh, so dude, cool. You would not be able to publish any of it.
No.
Like, it was the most offensive stuff ever. But like the joke I was working on was like, you know, you have to agree with the barber no matter what they say because they're holding sharp instruments by your face and neck. So he would just say like insane, like wildly like racist, sexist stuff. But I'd been agreeing up to that point because it was just like, yo, you got to do this. I'm like, yep. He's like, oh, this is how you got to treat a lady. And then he'd be like, this is how you treat a lady. And I'm like, yeah, you got it. You know, and then he'd be like, you got to, you know, backhand or whatever. And I'd be like, ooh, I don't think so. But maybe in your situation.
I've never tried it.
Yeah, personally. It's not for me. But maybe I was like, I don't want to agree with this guy. But then the funniest thing happened when he went, pandemic happened. He started cutting from his own apartment. So you would have to show up to his apartment and park like in a visitor spot, and he'd come get you, and he'd bring you into his apartment. And I mean, like, that's a lot of trust going to somebody's apartment. And I was always terrified. And he'd always have like a movie playing like on HBO, like real loud. And he'd start telling you all this wild stuff. And you're like, now I'm really in. And now I really have to agree with what he says because no one will see him, you know, murder me if he wanted to.
Oh my God.
And I remember one time though, I was like, hey, why don't you like, I was like, Black Shear's back open. Why don't you go back? He's like, I'm not going back there. Too much gunplay. And I was like, what? And apparently like he wasn't the most insane guy there.
Oh my God.
And like he started crazy. He started acting out a whole fight that he saw while holding scissors. He's acting out a fight, and like these two barbers gonna fight over like the hair and the, like in their way and whatever. And he was like, yeah, and like one guy like hit him, like sucker punched him on the ground, whatever. And then that guy went and grabbed his gun and like pulled his gun out on the other barber in the middle of the barber shop. And I was like, how were you the sane one in this barber shop? It was nuts. And so, yeah. And then my friend who, fortunately still has hair, like he kept going to him for a couple of years, and then he texted us. He was like, yo, I just texted Aaron, like, to get us like schedule our regular haircut, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, man, I moved to Houston. I work for the railroad now." I was like, this sounds like a story from 1845. My barber went to work for the railroad. Like,
he headed west.
yeah, like he just had packed up and headed down to.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah,
That happened to one of my barbers in high school. He wasn't crazy. He was just normal. He had his shop or whatever. But then he told me one day when he was cutting my hair, he's like, "I just got a dump truck," and I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, I just bought a dump truck. Like I'm leasing it out to companies, but I can't get a good driver, so I kind of have to do it like sometimes during the week or on the weekends or whatever." I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I would get my haircut like every week or so, or 2 weeks. And one day he just stopped showing up, and it was his shop. And then I asked the woman that ended up running it. He's like, "Oh yeah, he just works construction now. He quit. He's just not a barber anymore." And I'm like, "Fuck, he's the only one that could fix this."
Seriously, because you still haven't found somebody that could fix that.
Oh, I can.
Maybe just go China and go to some different construction sites and see if those guys can line you up.
Dude, I tried. There was one time where an old coworker of mine was talking about his barber, and he had like a similar thing, like his hairline was weird like mine. And I was like, "What's your barber's name? How does he fix it?" And he told me, I was like, Isaac? Does he look like this? Is he kind of going bald a little bit, but he's still serious? And I got so excited, and then I went, and it was a different dude.
But did he help
He fucked
with
me
your
up.
issue? Did he?
Fucked me up.
That's been a problem with you since you were little.
No, now my barber knows how to do it.
No, but like fucked up hairline.
Yeah. I think I might have fucked it up more with this ponytail because I always have my hair up. So I think I might have pulled it back a little bit. But I've decided once I turn 30, I'm shedding it all off. Yeah.
You have such a little head. You shouldn't do that.
I don't have that little of a head.
I have a pretty little head, so
It's
I'm there
about
with
your
you.
size, yeah.
Yeah, but you
I'll
can
be
be
alright.
hat guy.
Yeah. 30. Next
How does
September.
Senia feel about that?
She's fine. She's here. I got her a ring.
She got her. That was what I said.
Hey, yeah.
She got
You
the
locked
ring.
it
She's
down.
fine.
Yeah. Yeah, but on my 30th birthday, I'm going to go.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the way I look with just like a fade.
You think you're God's gift to this earth, so it's fine.
Prove me
He
wrong.
loves to just be like, I'm so like, even when we're not on.
Oh, this isn't a bit.
No, it's he's
just
very
talks about
self-conscious.
It's not my fault. I didn't believe this 7 years ago. It's her fault. She keeps telling me I'm handsome, and I keep believing it. I'm sorry.
No, you think you are actually.
She's like positively gaslighting you.
Yeah, I know, right?
I guess that's just called gassing you up, right? Is that
Yeah,
what
there
they're
you
saying?
go.
That's gassing me up.
I don't think it's true, but it's whatever.
We look alike, bitch, so you're ugly too. Yeah.
I know. Oh God. Well, Scott, it has been awesome having you on.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I got to figure out what I'm going to
Thank you.
leave for the friendo you got going over here.
You don't have to leave anything.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, you do.
Okay, I'll
So-
figure it out.
Okay.
I probably have some in my car.
You bring it back. This is Dante from Dante.
He painted that?
No, you got it at
From-
Kohl's.
Kohl's or Marshall?
got it cool.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna say like a art, like a farmer's market art thing.
No.
You're like no, he just.
I'm pretty
got
sure he
it.
told me you got it like one of those box stores.
he
amazing.
came to Riga's engagement party and brought it,
That was his gift.
I guess.
He had it in his car for like a month. And he was just like, "Oh, I'm just gonna ride around with it. I'll see Ricky at an open mic,
Oh my gosh.
and give it to him for the studio." And then when he finally decided to give it to me, it was at our engagement party.
Yeah.
I like thinking about it as a gift for your engagement. That's
Yeah.
even better.
It's a twofer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The Coles.
Can you give us your handle and
Yeah. So it's at SCOTTBEDGOOD. So SCOTTBEDGOOD. If you want to buy my book, it's called Lessons from Legends. You can buy it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, or anywhere you want to buy books. I also have a few copies if you want to come by my house. And then you don't have to pay Amazon.
yeah, hey, let's do that.
Honestly, yeah, I'd rather do that.
Yeah. So you can do that. You can follow me. You can sign up for my newsletter, scottbedgood.substack.com. I don't do as much of the stuff I talked about earlier just because I've got a lot going on, but I do update it from time to time with different, if I come across or start to do something weird or interesting. But yeah, mostly just like follow me on Instagram and Facebook or whatever. And we'll,
Go to his shows. We'll be promoting his shows whenever he has them. Thank you so much for coming on. That's it. And we'll see you next week.
Later.
Peace.
Bye.